and gentlemen, welcome to HMG, that Tommy Media Group for Light the Fuse. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is not the Ayatollah. It is not the golden Ayatollah bin Hamid. He is away taking over small countries and doing very dastardly things. But ladies and gentlemen, we are here live. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, live on YouTube and on Twitch and replays at Hami Media Group over on Patreon. Go over to patreon.com/Hami Media Group and become a patron for some cool shit. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who I am the reporter of the people, the man with the plan, Big Ray, here to stay to talk some lucha libre, which is your Spanish lesson for wrestling today. And ladies and gentlemen, I am not alone. Oh, I am not alone. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some really fucking cool ass people to join us. Yes, we do. And first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce to you the sexy one. Ladies and gentlemen, he is so fucking sexy. You have to put a filter over your computer screen or your laptop or your cell phone to actually look directly at him. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the one, the only pro wrestling sexiest man, and a very talented man at that. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the one, the only Chris Silvio. What's up, Sucio?
What is up, you guys? And thanks for that intro with that sexy little R&B number you got blasting back there. It is me, psychedelic superstar Chris Silvio, co-host of Light the Fuse AEW review show. Fuck, we had a kick-ass show last night. Can't wait to talk about it. But even bigger news, I got somebody hanging out in the green room today that's got some cool shit going on. Can't wait for everybody to hear about it.
Yeah, those
pitching back to you, Big Ray.
Do not stooge it off to the people listening on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. But let me just silence this really quickly, because, ladies and gentlemen, we have. Oh yeah, he is the 11-time. Oh, what's wrong with you?
I was born with the mic in my hand.
The 11-time South Samoan 6-man tag team champion. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a Rip Rogers guy. The one, the only, my co-host, Colin's co-host, everybody's co-host here at HMG. He is the vet, Jamie Williams vet. What is popping off, my brother?
I'm just here for the sexy. I don't not normally a AEW guy, even though I watch everything, unlike Ray. But I will say about the Samoan Tag Team Championship, that is a small island, so we only had enough for two 3-man teams. So it wasn't too hard to become the champion there.
Oh shit! All right, but I mean, everybody in Samoa is really hard to beat because they're fucking strong.
Yeah, but they're in all the other promotions around the world. So
got it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. I've been waiting for this for a long time. He is not only mine. You can unmute yourself, by the way, Chief, when you get a chance. He is not only my friend. He's your friend too. But if he's not your friend, he will punch you right in the fucking mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the one, the only. And of course, I fucked that up. So let's play the music back again. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the one behind the 21-1. I'm going to stretch this out until I can find this shit. Oh, fuck my life. Oh, this is bad.
He is one of the baddest fucking men on the planet, about to take the pro wrestling world by storm. Catch wrestler, MMA fighter, all around bad motherfucker. Joining us today, my homeboy, Blake Bulletproof Troop. Bang, bang.
Yeah, you know, I'm really fucking frustrated right now because I had this all fucking like lined up and shit. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. What am I going to do here? God damn it.
We're going to pitch to Blake.
It was
pitch it in.
No.
What's going on, Leighton?
Shut up.
Remember the name.
Yeah.
Let's get 'em.
DJ Ray.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the ring, weighing in at 200, 5 pounds, because the guy's fucking ripped as hell. He is a former MMA fighter, or still an MMA fighter, but he is now making his debut in the pro wrestling ring. Ladies and gentlemen, knockout artist extraordinaire. The man who is stroking a pit bull right now as we speak. Bulletproof. Blake True. God damn it. I had all that planned out and shit. With the fucking music playing in the background.
Ray, I'm not even mad at how nervous you just got introducing me, bro. This might have been one of the biggest moments ever on your show. So I'm not even mad at you for being a little nervous, brother. But it is good to be here on the show, baby. And anybody who knows, I got my professional wrestling debut coming up Saturday, October 2nd. And you better believe that I got a warhead that I'm going to drop on someone's forehead. Bang, bang.
So here's the deal, man. I decided to bring in our boy, Bulletproof Blake Troop, because, man, number one, Blake, here's the deal. I've been with you, brother, from the very beginning. I mean, people, nobody liked Blake Troop. People.
I don't think they still like me very much.
I mean, I'll shoot on Ben. Ben hated your guts, but I said no. This guy's awesome, man. I mean, yeah, he stepped on a little Greek guy. That's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. But Blake Troop, man, dude, I am so happy to have you on, bro. I mean, people don't know how cool we are and how blessed I am by having this gentleman in my life as a friend and to see your journey come to fruition. Now, the reason I wanted to fucking, bring you on, especially with Chris Silvio being here. Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about your connection with Blake Troop?
So Blake is a high-level MMA fighter and catch wrestler, as we all know. And if you don't know, just do a quick Google search. You'll find that out quick. I think Blake, maybe about a year and a half ago, we linked up for the first time. Blake was wanting to break into the world of pro wrestling, a sport he always loved. And, just needed somebody that was going to be a dedicated coach and teach him the right way to go about accomplishing his goals. And I think we clicked pretty early on. I got to know Blake on a personal level and understood what he wanted to present. So since then, we've just been working on making him a pro wrestling machine and letting him be him. Troop will tell you about everything he's got going on. But the main thing while training Blake, other than, making him as proficient at pro wrestling as possible, is letting him be him. Blake Troop is a charismatic dude. He's a legit fighter, knockout artist. Like, I'm not trying to make the guy into a wrestling doctor or a luchador. Bulletproof Troop is box office already. So now that he has some new skills to add to what he already has, he's going to be legit one of the strongest forces in wrestling, both in the ring and at the box office.
Well, really quickly, Blake, I don't know if you know the vet, but he is, like I said, a Rip Rogers guy, and he's been in the business very, very long. He's my co-host over at, I was going to say the Impact Attack, but at the what's the show we do?
Next Level.
That thing.
Get it together, Ray. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. Let me tell you something, bro. It's been a long morning. Okay?
This is my nightmare, Chris.
Would you stop?
Okay.
All right. Anyway, I'm
going to take it as Ray's just nervous having me on the show. That's why Ray's all fucked up.
Understandable. It's
like
understandable.
Chris said, box office, and Ray's like, "Oh my god, I got to talk
Jesus
Troop
Christ.
again."
Do you know how me and Chris, me and Blake became cool?
I don't know. Maybe you slid into his DMs.
Well, kind of. Actually,
Close.
kind of. But we were going at each other. We were just going fucking back and forth, playing the dozens. And, I'm pretty good at it. But I noticed that this young man, just didn't know how to shut the fuck up. And he didn't have to. Everything he said was clever and smart and shit. And I just found it to be really cool. So I hit him up, man. And I was like, I didn't know he was even an MMA fighter. I didn't give a shit. I knew the kid looked jacked and everything like that, so on and so forth. I was like, man, you're fucking funny. And as we got to know each other, we started, getting cool, man. And he started doing stuff with us, Cage Theory, and then sending me little videos and stuff of your training. I'll stooge this off, Blake. You've sent me probably like 300 training videos of you, and not one has gotten out, by the way, so you can trust me on that one. But yeah, man, I've been a huge supporter of you, Blake, and I just wanted to, before I go to you, I wanted to go over the vet if vet had any questions, because we do have a guy that's been on NWA TV as well. If you have any questions regarding training, so on and so forth, or whatever.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure, Mr. Bulletproof, sir. I'm not as nervous as Ray. But the only thing I would want to know for myself and for the fans listening and watching is, so you're a fighter and a pro wrestler. So which one of those came first, and how did it lead into the other? Or was it a simultaneous thing?
I would say that it's somewhat simultaneous. However, I'm finally making my professional wrestling debut. I've been fighting for a little bit over 7 years. And about 2 years into my fight career, I was seeing guys like Conor McGregor getting massive breaks. And not because Conor can't fight, but because Conor McGregor is Conor McGregor outside the ring. That's why Conor McGregor is who he is. Given the first three most important things of being a fighter is being able to fight, being able to fight, and being able to fight. If you can do that, then you can add a lot of showmanship. You can really get boosted ahead, because at the end of the day, fighting is the entertainment industry. People tune in to watch fighting to be entertained. Same with pro wrestling and every other sport. So by boosting my entertainment value in my fight career, I essentially started becoming a professional wrestling type personality in fighting. I grew up watching professional wrestling. It was really my first love. And towards the late 90s, when UFC started coming out, started finding out wrestling might not always be a legitimate sports competition, it kind of broke my heart a little bit. And this is when fighting comes out, and it stole my heart for around 20 years. But, the late 20 teens, as I was doing this whole Bulletproof Troop thing, and essentially, like I said, becoming a professional wrestling personality in combat sports to boost the entertainment value of what I was doing outside of the ring, to get more fans interested in me fighting and so forth. And as a result of me creating the brand Bulletproof Troop and becoming, like I said, an entertainer, I'd walk around with a big gold grenade chain. I'm a really good shit talker. I tell people I have a black belt in shit talking. That's how Ray and I became friends. We're like two shit talkers shit talking each other and like, hey, bro, you're pretty good. But so anyway, by boosting my entertainment value and I essentially looked at a lot of professional wrestling personalities and applied some of the things that they were doing in my own genuine ways to really create my own genuine brand of Bulletproof Troop. As I did that, I'd also cut like vignette style promos, which were actually pretty good in my opinion. I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I had a lot of really positive feedback.
Fucking Barry Horowitz over here.
So as I did these type of things, it started getting the attention of people in the professional wrestling world. And that sparked my interest in potentially coming back into professional wrestling. It reignited kind of my passion for professional wrestling that had all but disappeared for almost 20 years, since mixed martial arts really took my heart when I started training in the 2000. And so the more I started going to wrestling shows and so forth, the more interested I became in potentially becoming a professional wrestler myself, particularly because I had a brand and I'm 6'4", 240 pounds. And not only that, but I have a lot of people that follow my fighting. My last MMA fight, I personally, from my hand, sold $13,000 in tickets. So I've got a big following because of my fight career. And so it's something that professional wrestling promotions could see, man, this guy's a fucking draw. Not only do I look the part, but I'm a legit badass and I'm a draw. So professional wrestling promotions became more and more interested in me. But I was very hesitant to debut, and I'd been advised because of some of the things that I brought to the table that just debuting to debut would significantly take away from the potential impact I could have if I maximized my debut by really building it up and being fully prepared for it. So this is probably about 2 years, almost exactly. I started training much more focused into professional wrestling. Instead of doing like a class or two a week, where I really started doing even more training than that. and really trying to understand a lot more of the dynamics that go into a professional wrestling match than just the moves themselves, because the moves, as we know, are interchangeable. It's more about being able to build the moments in anticipation and so forth. But I had to start off early, learning some of the moves and all that. Then I was supposed to have a major fight in 2020, March 13th, 2020. It's going to be the biggest fight of my career. Main event on the Fox Sports Network, the LXF heavyweight world title. It got canceled because of COVID. And so during COVID, a lot of things got shut down. However, because I'm a combat sports guy, I didn't necessarily get complete. My fight got canceled, but new opportunities began opening up. And one of those opportunities was doing combat sports analysis style commentary for the United Wrestling Network, particularly Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and then later on the Primetime Live pay-per-view series that was in association with the NWA. So I got to start becoming introduced to the professional wrestling audience as Bulletproof Troop coming in and kind of teasing the fans about this combat sports expert potentially eventually getting inside of the professional wrestling ring by being able to be part of the show and talk and be, like I said, presented as a combat sports expert to the audience until I was prepared to get myself inside of the professional wrestling ring. And I realized that I was not able to fully prepare myself to a level that I was satisfied with. I'm a world-class competitor in multiple combat sports. So I believe preparation is key. You know, the more I prepare, the luckier I seem to get. It's crazy how that works. But so I didn't think that I could find the most preparation the type of preparation that I really needed with California, with the way things were locked down with COVID and so forth. And so I began working with Chris right around the time that right around when I first started doing combat sports analysis. And Chris and I were doing online stuff once a week across the country. And we did that for 6-7 months or so before I was like, man, I need to get my ass out to Florida and just fully immerse myself in training, because I'm half in, half out. And not that I didn't want to do more. I just didn't have the opportunity to do more training in California because COVID still has that state really shut down. Mm-hmm. So I packed up my bags. I packed up a suitcase and a box, and I jumped on a plane with my dog in December of 2020, and I moved out to Florida. And pretty much nonstop since then, I have been training with Chris, a few privates a week, a few group classes a week, virtually since December. I took 2 months off to do a world title tournament for Snake Pit Catch Wrestling's vacant heavyweight world title in February. I went all the way to the finals with that. I was pinned by Travis Weef, the current world champion, in the finals. He became crowned world champion after beating me. So that was 2 months of early 2021, and then I got back to training. So since March, Chris and I have been rocking and rolling. He's been teaching me not just how professional wrestling works, but how does Bulletproof Troop get inside the ring and wrestle. So it's not just teaching. You're not just going to see another professional wrestler get inside the ring, and nothing against the people that choose to take that route. But Chris and I have been building something much bigger, and there's a reason why I am debuting live on pay-per-view against a legitimate opponent and not starting up in some backyard.
Hey, let me jump in real quick. We have a couple of questions from the chat. They're asking, Canada Spaceman is asking right here, is Blake's match going to be online? So where can they see this match, Blake?
Yes, so this match, Saturday, October 2nd, will be live on pay-per-view, available on the Fight TV app for $9.99. It's called Primetime Live, and it is presented by the United Wrestling Network.
All right, very cool. Also, we have Mike Martin. He's asking a cool question here. Did Shamrock or Dan Severn have any influence as far as wrestling goes?
Absolutely. So you hit the nail on the head with two of the veteran combat sports people that were transition over athletes that really did both. I mean, you can't get much bigger than Dan Severn coming out to win a UFC title and walking out to the ring with an NWA title. Dan Severn is a huge influence on who I am. Ken Shamrock as well. Between the two, I would say Ken Shamrock was probably a slightly bigger influence, but that's just because of the timing of him being in UFC. And at the time, I was really in love with both professional wrestling and mixed martial arts or UFC but both those guys are very similar path and personality people where they're bad mother hubbards inside the ring, and that's definitely the way that I feel like I need to be presented inside the ring and that Chris has been preparing me to be presented inside the ring is coming out and being a legitimate Bad Mother Hubbard threat in every division.
With that being said, Vet, I'm so glad you're on with us, because if there's anybody that actually knows the business and anybody that who's learned from, in my humble opinion, probably the greatest trainer of all time in the business, is there anything you can?
Then it's Silvio, but I'm here too.
Well,
so.
I mean, but hold on, I'm gonna move down. I'm moving down. Why are you throwing me under the bus here, bro?
I'm putting Silvio over, not at your expense.
Thank you,
Chris
Jamie.
Chris doesn't need to be put over.
I disagree.
Okay, that's fine. So, can you offer any advice to Blake?
Well, I can tell you right off the bat, if I can ask one simple question and get a 10-minute answer, then he's going to have no problem making it in professional wrestling, because that is the important thing. You have to be able to sell yourself at all times and get as many people to buy as possible. So I think we're going to be nice and covered there. And it's definitely proves what I've always say, that wrestling is like a blood disease. It may go into remission, but you don't ever get rid of it. So, like you said, it came back. It came back into your life in a big way, and we're excited to see where you go from your debut. So you don't have an opponent announced for the debut, but it is you may know who it is. So without giving anything away, can you let us know what we're in for?
Let me see how I can word this.
And are you gonna wear the suit? Are you gonna wear the suit without sleeves like you've been doing?
Oh no, we're coming full bulletproof truth. Okay. You are gonna see something brand new when I walk from behind that curtain. I can't tell you what it is. You're gonna have to buy the pay-per-view.
Unbelievable.
But there's definitely going to be a whole new image to Bulletproof Troop that's stepping onto the battlegrounds. This is not the same man that has been sitting behind the commentary table. I mean, it's the same man, but it's a totally different vibe.
So I'm gonna. This is kind of like a question to both Silvio and Blake Troop. I'm gonna go to Chris first. Chris, what was the hardest thing to try to teach this man what to do? And then Blake, in retrospect, going backwards, what was the hardest thing you felt you had to learn into the wrestling business? Chris, I'm going to ask you first, sir.
Man, Blake's, for the most part, been a pretty ideal student from a coach's standpoint. He's been an athlete for so long, like myself. He's used to being coached. So there's not a lot of argument. Like, I show him something. If he doesn't do it right, I correct it. He does it right the next time. If he doesn't understand something or why I'm asking him to do something, he'll ask me. I clarify. We keep moving. It's just small details that only the trained eye would know. More so just stuff like making sure we're giving enough time to show the audience how dominant he is, because he can float from hold to hold and strike to strike so quickly and tap anybody out. I want to, make sure that he takes the time for the audience to see just how awesome all these holds are. And he's doing really well, man. From a coaching standpoint, I can say he's definitely prepared. Just like every other athlete, training camp's going to continue. We'll keep training harder and harder and getting better and better. But walking into this debut, Blake's going to be impressive. The main thing, and Jamie, you'll probably find this interesting, that I've really tried to focus on with Blake and letting him be himself, is because of his background and who he is. Blake can win a match from any position. Blake can win a match via pinfall. He can win a match via a very myriad of submissions, and he can also knock you out. So you have a lot of wrestlers that'll come in and let's say they use a neck breaker finish, 1, 2, 3. Well, what if you can't get the neck breaker? What if the neck breaker is not there? What if the guy's too big for you to hook it? So what's cool about Blake and different to everybody else in pro wrestling is he can beat you from any position. That makes him different in itself, and it makes him dangerous as fuck if you're looking at it from a competitive standpoint.
Yeah. So Blake, and I don't know if you remember the question, but basically now, what is the toughest thing, okay? Because Chris is an elite instructor, all right? And this guy's been all over the world. He's wrestled everywhere. He's wrestled on TV, so on and so forth. What was the hardest thing for you to learn as, in this pro wrestling world?
As an athlete, picking up new techniques and the movements and stuff came extremely naturally. I would say some of the other areas that I would say the single area that I probably had the most trouble with, at least initially, which I really feel like I've gotten much better at this, is the difference between selling and registering. Overselling things too early, and learning to gauge the response that I give certain things. But not that it was bad initially. I'd almost go overboard where it's overselling. But now I've got this ability to have a spectrum between registering and selling. I would say that was one of the hardest things initially, because in fighting, you punch me in the face and you know what I'm going to do? Not a goddamn thing. You're not going to know that it hurt me. So now that it's like I want to put that over where it would be too much selling. But now I really think that we've reeled that in and dialed it into the appropriate amount of response that's proportional to whatever it is that I'm doing it for. I would say that was the showing the emotion, particularly like I'm hurt or I'm vulnerable, which is not something it's something that we really try and drill out of a fighter. You kick a guy in the leg and he's like, oh, you're like, oh, I'm going to kick this dude in the leg again, So right. I would say that was one of the hardest things. A lot of the movement and so forth comes relatively naturally, or like trying to pause and slow down and find moments. Now that I'm not in a full-on competition sense where I don't need to rip a dude's head off, I can be patient with it. I know he's willing to work with me. So I don't have to be as aggressive, tight, and snug with it because I don't really need to latch it on. And so I understand they're slowing things down so that there's bite-sized moments for the audience to understand. That came relatively easy to me. But it definitely was one of the first things that I had to get over instead of trying to control things and make it more show. But the selling and registering, I think, was probably the biggest obstacle for me to understand and then start to adapt to. Would you agree with that, Chris?
We've definitely put a lot of work into that area. But yeah, the main thing has just been taking the time to show the audience what you're capable of, whether it's being on offense or defense.
Blake, we got about 2.5 minutes here. We have one quick question from Mike Martin in the chat. And it's a good question. He's asking, what's your bigger passion? And I'm assuming at this point right now, or maybe in life, man, is it pro wrestling or is it MMA before we sign you off and you tell us where we're going to find you, where we're going to see you? And, man, you got to tell us, man. You got to give us do you have a finishing move? I mean, Chris is saying that you have several finishing moves. I mean, is there anything you can give us? Anything you can give us before you leave?
I'll tune you in. I'll give you a couple quick little teasers. First, I'm going to go to the question. What is a bigger passion for you, pro wrestling or mixed martial arts? And that's a difficult question to ask me at different times, but I can tell you that today and for the last months, professional wrestling has taken my heart. I have barely been watching fighting. I've been watching a ton of pro wrestling, and I couldn't be more excited to be a part of professional wrestling. So professional wrestling all day at this point in my life, and probably the majority moving forward. So that's for that question. Now, a finishing move. What do I have as a finishing move? Well, I have a whole variety of finishing moves, as Chris mentioned. So I can finish guys standing, slamming them, submitting them. There's a whole cascade of things. But one that I'll let you know about is, as you know, my logo is a hand grenade. So one of my finishes is a hand grenade. I pull the pin, I wind up, and blah! Lights out. So I'll tell you about that one. You might have seen me also post some other submission holds. I got a really cool figure 4 that I posted a long time ago there in Stevens. That is just one of a myriad of awesome shoot submission hold setups that I will be bringing to professional wrestling very soon.
Very cool. So, Vet, is there anything you would like to say to our brother, Bulletproof Blake Troop, before he leaves?
It was a pleasure to meet you, and I wish you all the best with your debut. I'm sure you're going to kill it. So be sure to toss that grenade for me, brother.
Yeah, man. And anything, Chris, that you want to say to your pupil, Bulletproof Blake Troop, before he bounces from here?
We're ready, man, and I'm gonna be making the trip out to LA to watch Blake kick some ass. So Blake, go ahead and give everybody the deets real quick. Let them know how to watch this debut, where to find you, all that good stuff.
So if you guys want to catch the debut again, it is Saturday, October 2nd, next weekend. You can go over to the Fight TV app and look up Primetime Live, presented by the United Wrestling Network. And if you want to come check out some of my stuff, you can head on over to BlakeTroop.com, pick yourself up some awesome merch. You can check me out on Instagram at Bulletproof Troop, on Facebook, Facebook.com/Bulletproof Trooper, or on Twitter at @BigTroop22. Next Saturday, October 2nd, believe the hype. Click, clap, bang, bang.
Yo, before you leave, man, what's the dog's name again? Put the dog over.
Tiger Dog, come here. His name's Timon. Come here. The people want to
Timon.
see you, Tiger Dog.
Where's Pumbaa?
Tiger Dog, Pumbaa died a few years ago.
Oh, well, that's right.
Hey,
I'm
dude.
sorry, man. He's
That's
beautiful,
part of
man.
being pet owner.
Hey, man. Yo, God bless you, man. Yo, Blake, you are my boy, brother. I love you, man. I got so much fucking I'm so proud, man. I'm so proud, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey, bro. Bro, you're gonna fucking kill it. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm being dead serious. Not just because he's my boy or anything like that. This dude is the fucking truth. This guy is a fucking showman, but he doesn't only just, he's not just a showman. He's the real fucking thing. Bulletproof Blake Troop, the next big thing in professional wrestling. Thank you so much for joining us, my brother. Thank you, brother. God bless you, man. I'll see you soon. We'll chat off air.
Thank you guys for having me on the show. Hey, Ray, I'm going to send you over an article that SoCal Uncensored wrote about me debuting. Bro,
all right,
they
no
fucking
doubt.
hyped me up. Believe the hype. It was a pleasure being on the show. Thank you, guys. Chris, I'll see you tomorrow. Ray, it was good chatting with you, my man. It was very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Get on that tape review today, and we'll kill it in the gym tomorrow.
Sounds
all right,
good.
ladies and gentlemen.
Have a good one, fellas. Thank you again.
That was the man, Bulletproof Blake Troop. Oh, that was
this
pretty
chat
cool,
is a
man.
bunch of savages, man.
Man, they
I
suck.
see some of the comments in here.
Yo, dude, you suck
love
out
them.
there, you guys. They're
I love them.
unbelievable. How fucking dare you say some of the things? Incredible. Chris,
Yo,
I have to apologize. Now, Vet knows that that's what I do a lot. I didn't mean to say that you weren't an elite, top of the level fucking trainer.
you never
But
said that.
But Vet made it sound as if I'm kind of
How
fucking
dare he
throwing
never say that? Son of a bitch.
I felt bad. I'm just putting it out there. You know I have so much respect for you, right, Chris?
It's all good, Ray. A, you never said it, and B, I know what I do, and I'm very confident in my body and my skill set.
I'm gonna say this to myself.
No praise.
But he shouldn't have said it.
Anyway. All right, listen, man. We got a couple of quick news articles before we review this fucking awesome show. It was really cool to have Bulletproof Blake Troop on air, man. Yo, Chris, he is. I hate to break this to people, but he's a fucking great guy. He really is. He's a really good dude with an excellent heart. It was funny. I'm gonna stooge this off. I'm sure he's not gonna fucking. But he had to throw the sluts out of the apartment before he jumped on. He's quite the ladies man.
That's not true.
Oh, it's
Blake
very
is
true.
a clean-cut All-American boy.
Bullshit. You're not.
Well, he's
talking
not
about
that clean cut. That beard was on several weeks growth, but I mean,
You remember when G.I. Joe got the beard? It's the same thing.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. That was
Or the Corporal Kirshner LJN figure with the beard, the variant.
wait. They have a time out. They have a beard variant of Corporal Kirshner's fucking.
Yeah.
You serious? Because I had to
Kirshner
clean that guy.
Kirshner got 3 or 4 variants for some strange reason.
What?
that is what reason? I want to know.
Yeah, like how did he get more than one? I mean, the biggest match I remember him, it was in WrestleMania 3 against Nikolai Volkov, right?
He had some flag match.
Yeah, Nikolai Volkov, WrestleMania 3, but he was clean shaven then. Still in the WWF. How the hell did he get 3 figures?
Not sure. Not sure. But bigger news than the Corporal Kirshner. Again, Saturday, October 2nd, please check out Bulletproof Troops debut on United Wrestling Network live on Fight TV. It's only $10. If you've never seen Primetime Live before, they bring in some really high-level talent. I know Mike Bennett is a regular there, Hammerstone, guys like Jordan Clearwater, who's an NWA talent, just a lot of really good guys there. So you're paying $10 to see our boy, but you're also getting a hell of a card of wrestling, and I'll be in attendance as well. So you'll get to see my beautiful face.
That's another dude I'm looking to bring on, Mr. Hammerstone. We connected about half a year ago, and we chat here and there, back and forth. And this guy, when you talk about like what a pro wrestler should look like, that dude is to me. He's like Randy what's the movie The Wrestler, the Ram dude? What was the main character's name? Randy the Ram. He's like Randy the Ram come to life. Seriously, only more jacked. It's incredible. He's a cool dude too, man. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's just break into some breaking news that we have here. Top news stories of the day, light the fuse. And gentlemen, apparently WWE asked Bryan Danielson, not Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson not to use yes chants. So my question to you, and I'm gonna go to the vet first. So according to ringsidenews.com, AEW boarded Daniel Bryanson, but WWE properties did not come with him. He hasn't done the yes chants, so on and so forth. Anyway, apparently people like Kevin Dunn have asked him to please not use the yes chants, that it's more or less WWE property. How could the word yes or the action of pointing up in the air be a property? Why is Daniel Bryan not, doing the yes chant?
So, or more importantly, what are they going to do with it, owning it? I mean, like, what, they're just going to have somebody else point up in the thing and say yes? So maybe that's Big E's new thing. I like what would be the purpose of just selfishly just, dude, it's over. Just let it go. He's there now. If he wants to do it, or if he doesn't want to do it, it really should be up to him. They can't stop him. I mean, if he's not going to do it, it's going to be out of the respect that he has for Vince McMahon and that company that he spent so many years working for. So I don't think that's something that's like killing him inside. And the fans are going to want to do it anyway at times. So you can't stop it.
WWE has Sonic the Hedgehog is saying that WWE has a copyright of the word yes. How can you do
that? He might be being sarcastic.
Yeah, I think so. So what do you think
Sonic we're talking about here? So
Brian's a very genuine person, so I sincerely believe that he is not trying to ruffle WWE feathers because he's sincerely appreciative of the platform they gave him. So from what I understand, he doesn't want to do the yes thing anymore. He wants to present Bryan Danielson. The yes thing was Daniel Bryan. And guess what? He doesn't have to say it or point up because the whole audience is going to be doing it anyway. So it doesn't matter. They're still going to do it. They just can't put shirts that say yes on it. Same amount of people are going to buy a shirt that says fucking Bryan Danielson or American Dragon. So they're all good. Let WWE continue selling the yes shirts in Walmart and Hot Topic. Plus, one day, good chance Bryan will be back, whether it's to be in the Hall of Fame or whether it's to be a trainer at NXT. I think he knows that. Similar to Bret Hart, how he always wanted his legacy and his catalog of matches to live on. I'm sure Bryan is cognizant of the same things.
Yeah, very cool. So is there anything else you want to add? Because we have a big news story here. What's up, Vet? Why
I was just going to say that in a just world, it should be a case where the WWE is saying, Bryan, you want to use the yes chant, you can. He'd be like, no, that was a here thing. I won't do that. And they should be saying, but it's never that. It's always the opposite of that.
Why he would have done that too, Jamie. Had they told him that, he would have been like, no. You guys keep it.
Yep.
So I'm sorry. Do you think he's just trying to get as far away from Daniel Bryan as he possibly can?
No, I don't necessarily think that. I think it's just look. It's just like Susio said. He's a genuine person. He's gonna do what he thinks is right by the most people possible. So even if they had not said anything about it, which I don't even know if he knows what, I don't know what conversations they had or whatever, or if this is even a real thing, who knows? But he seems like the type of person that just wouldn't try to push it. So.
All right, well, all right, so now on the other side of the spectrum here, and this has been a pretty big, people have been going crazy over this shit. And I'm going to go to Chris first. So AEW partners with the Owen Hart family, celebrating his legacy. Let me just read this real quick. This is coming from SportsIllustrated.com. The company announced on Monday that it has entered into collaboration with the Owen Hart Foundation that will include the establishment of AEW tournament called the Owen Hart Cup, which I think is fucking fantastic. I don't even have to read on. I think we all, as wrestling pundits and fans and former pro wrestlers, know the story of Owen Hart and know the issues between Owen Hart's wife and the WWE. Now, Chris, there are some WWE fanboys. Now, people talking shit about the AEW fanboys. There are WWE fanboys out there and fangirls that are absolutely going banana about this. I got to read this tweet to you real quick before you jump in. This tweet has been all over the place. This kid, I'm not gonna even read his fucking tweet, but it was retweeted hundreds of times. I hope Vince sues AEW for every dollar they are worth. Using Owen Hart like this is just taunting WWE. Is it? I'm sorry. His family is sick for agreeing to this. He was a WWE guy, no matter what. I mean, I thought he was a pro wrestling guy. But anyway, Chris, your thoughts, bro.
You're right. He was a pro wrestling guy. He did not belong to WWE. I think this was a very smart choice by Tony Khan and AEW. The fans, I'm a big Owen fan, and the fans want Owen stuff. Like, we would love to have seen a 3-disc Owen Hart set. We would love to have a line of Owen Hart merchandise that we could purchase. But because of how he died and the disagreements between his widow Martha and the WWE, she wasn't cool with what happened to him for just reasons, and didn't want them profiting off of his death. And now she has the foundation, I think it's the Owen Hart Foundation or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
Which is serving a good cause. So not only is AEW giving the wrestling fans, a piece of Owen Hart, but they're also doing it for a good purpose, and raising money for charity as well. So I think it was a very, very smart decision on AEW.
What do you think, Vet?
I think exactly the same thing. I think anybody that thinks otherwise is a fucking asshole, and they're ignorant. What else is there to say? Like, there was, I guess there was just no huge platform before, because don't even take that shit off.
Well, I mean, this is the other side of the spectrum. This is why I have to play devil's advocate here. I don't agree with Frank's pickleberry ass, but retort.
What is he even talking about?
I don't know. He says that his wife is selling his body for money. Come on, bro.
That's not what that is.
It's not?
No.
Oh. Well,
what kind of shit am I sitting in here right now? I can just leave if you're gonna be this dumb. No, man, look.
Don't leave.
So the WWE was the only game in town for a long time, and Martha wasn't going to give them any play for her own personal reasons, and those are her wishes, and those are her reasons, and it's none of us to be able to say anything against those, because we weren't there. We're just a bunch of marks, so we don't really have any say in it. So if somebody comes along like an AEW who's big enough to where the platform can reach more people and actually do something, AEW has come around now and they can do that. So I think any opportunity that we have to be able to celebrate that legacy and introduce Owen Hart to it, because if you got to imagine, he's been gone so long, there's generations of wrestling fans that have come after that had not seen him, and maybe some of those fans are AEW fans and don't really watch the WWE. That seems like a strange thing, but it's possible. And so to be able to go back and, to sort of get a sense of, what this guy was really about, whatever they can do to sort of preserve that legacy. WWE's going to have a lock on all the footage and stuff like that,
Right.
which is unfortunate. But I mean, this is a good thing all the way around, I'm sure.
I have a feeling, I have a good feeling that Frank's Picklebarrel Ass was just channeling. I don't think he means it. I think he was just channeling what I've been actually seeing on social media. And if I can give my opinion on this, I think it's fucking fantastic that AEW, listen, WWE's relationship with Owen Hart's wife, Martha, it's Martha, right? Okay. With his wife, Martha, has been terrible. So, the fan, like Chris was saying, the fans want to respect. They want to give love to Owen Hart and everything that he's given. Some people say he's overrated. I fucking strongly disagree. I think if Owen Hart actually stayed alive, I think he might have been a WWE World Champion. This is just my opinion. That's a whole show for another day. But with that being said, I think this is fantastic. And again, Chris was also saying that the Owen Hart Foundation does a lot of good. So why the hell not do this? I think this is fantastic. But people that are sitting there saying that Owen Hart, his wife is pimping him out, basically. No, she's not. Okay, because if she really wanted to do that, then she would have been like, all right, put him in the WWE Hall of Fame and let's fucking, I'll give him the Ultimate Warrior Award and shit like that. Ooh, did I say that out loud? Yes, I fucking did. Okay, that's how I feel. So with that being said, Chris, anything you want to say before we move on, or anything else you want to say, Vet, before we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, but about Owen, Chris Jericho, one of the most senior roster members there, was heavily influenced by Owen Hart. So you look at it all the way from Chris Jericho down to a Sammy Guevara or a Jungle Boy. All of these wrestlers in the back, in some form or fashion, were inspired by Owen, or the modern style that they wrestled today was pioneered by Owen, including myself.
Absolutely.
The pace, the movements, the dives, all of that. Owen was one of the people that brought that, to fruition and made it a major part of pro wrestling in North America. So
can I just say something to you boys? I remember as a kid when Owen Hart debuted as the Blue Blazer, right? So when I was a little kid, during the sports, CBS Sports, Warner Wolf, and all that shit, he used to actually give pro wrestling results. That's how old I am, okay? So that hadn't happened in years until the Blue Blazer showed up, where they showed him doing that springboard, jumping off the rope, landing on his ass, doing the backflip, and it was a big news story. I do agree that he was so well ahead of his time. And if you guys go back to some of the archives and stuff, and WWE does own all the rights to his videos and matches and stuff, Blue Blazer was coming back as a parody of himself, and it was fucking genius what he was doing. He was making, like you guys say, chicken salad, lemonade, so on and so forth. I don't know if it was a rib or not, but it was getting over, and this guy was just such a great worker. I think eventually he would have fought his brother and taken the world title from his brother. That would have been a big main event at a WrestleMania. So I think in closing, and again, I always ask you guys if there's anything else you want to add. I think this is a fantastic thing. Seriously, a wonderful thing for not only Owen Hart's legacy, but for his wife, his kids, the Hart family, and also the pro wrestling fans. Am I off here, guys?
Nope. Spot on.
All right.
And another little detail, just so everybody know, AEW said they're gonna have like an annual tournament, the Owen Cup, so
awesome.
We're not just gonna forget about it. It's gonna be something that comes around once a year that we can look forward to. So that's gonna be just great.
It's fucking awesome, man. All right, so I'm gonna play this quick little clip. Apparently over the last I think last week and stuff, Jerome Hall. Usually I go to the chat, but we have so much show today, so I'm just keeping this short. 1,500 people. I don't know if you heard this, Chris. I don't know if you heard this, Vet. But apparently 1,500 people left an hour early during Raw. Okay. They left an hour early during Alexa Bliss's promo. And Dave Meltzer, even though I'm not a huge fan of Dave Meltzer, but this is him trying to explain what indeed tried to fucking happen there.
Better than this. She's getting a championship match because she gave her a doll.
The whole thing is just, I can't deal. The thing is though, so tonight, this one, it really backfired because So they had about 8,000 in the building, which is not bad, not good. I mean, it's fine. People were leaving in droves during this segment. I heard 1,500 people left. And we're it was before, and they didn't. It's not like that they left, went to the bathroom and came back. They left, went home at 10 o'clock. People were going home at 10 o'clock, which I have never heard of people going home in any numbers during a live Raw. And this was the first, and it was this segment that.
Well, I'm sure they'll learn a valuable lesson from that, Dave.
All right, I'm going to cut it off. That's perfect to cut off right there. Let's go to the vet first, man. Listen, let's be honest. Every time you look at Alexa Bliss, all you think of is Bray Wyatt now. This is me anyway. I don't know if you feel the same way. They took this character, and a lot of people, some people don't like Bray Wyatt. It's fine, but I think his character was phenomenal. They took this character, they put it on this young lady who didn't need that character, by the way, because she's Alexa fucking Bliss. And then they have her cutting promos with fucking dolls. So what do you think, man? People leaving an hour? Like, Vet, have you ever, besides a baseball game with these fake fucking fans, they do have fake, Mets fans, they do that. I know Silvio's a Mets fan.
Let's not start it. Let's not start it.
They leave around the fifth inning because they know they've already fucking lost. The Yankee fans, we stay. We stay until we hear Frank Sinatra sing, New York, New York. So what do you think, man, of this whole situation, buddy?
Well, imagine buying a ticket to Raw in 2021 and not knowing how bad the show was, so that you were surprised enough that you had to leave early. Like, have you never seen it before?
Yeah, I know. Pretty fucking terrible.
I don't know, man. What is there to say? This is one of the worst things that they've done creatively in a long time. And I was having a discussion with a friend of mine talking about Lou Thez and how back in the day when Lou Thez was a touring world champion, if he wouldn't be on a show that had women wrestlers or midget wrestlers, or because he didn't think that was a good representation of the business and he didn't want to be associated with it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that, he was right or wrong for that. But I'm just going to say that imagine being like a Bobby Lashley or a Big E, and you're the champion of the doll show. Like, how proud can you be, to call yourself, like, to achieve this goal that you've had for so long? It doesn't matter if it's like, a real competition or whatever. It's an anointing. It's a recognition of you, and you're on the same program with these dolls that have supernatural powers and come to life. Like that is the company that you represent with that championship. Lou Thez didn't even want to be on with a woman. Now you have to be the champion of the doll show.
Chris, your thoughts, buddy?
I get it. Jamie's got a good point to what he's saying. I can tell you this from firsthand knowledge. There are many on the roster that find the product unwatchable and do not watch the shows other than when they're there. So what he's saying, there's legitimate verified truth to it. The scuttlebutt with this is how Meltzer came up with that number. It's been reported from people that worked for the company that several hundred people did walk out.
Right. I wanted to throw that out there that yes, it's not just Dave Meltzer. I just used his clip, but it was multiple reports from different people, fans, so on and so forth. I'm sorry, Chris, please.
Right. But it's coming back on Meltzer a little bit, and that's what I was going to say is like, how in the world could Dave have possibly come up with the figure of 1,500?
He probably counted.
Like, was he there counting one by one?
He probably did.
Like the boys do when you're counting the people in the audience before you go through the curtain. The people that are inside sources were saying it's closer to 700. Did Dave just take the liberty to double that? I don't know, but we do know that it's been verified. A lot of people walked out, and I don't blame them. Alexa's great. Charlotte's great. But I don't like that stuff. I don't like the Alexa's Playground shit. she was fine as she was. If she wants to do this new gimmick, cool. But, let's maybe stop with so much of the sci-fi in the pro wrestling show.
And they walked out knowing that you're going to have a triple threat match later with Big E, Roman Reigns, and that guy that wrestles. So like they knew that, and still they were like, just get out early, avoid traffic. Yeah. It's getting a little late. I've had a long day.
Yeah, we know the Mets are going to lose. Let's just leave.
Yeah, we know the Mets.
Fourth inning. Chris, you're a Mets fan? Anyway,
I was as a child.
That's right, Dad. We had this conversation, right? Now you hate baseball because baseball sucks, and it's true. Apparently, gentlemen, not only do we have the TNT Championship, it is reported, and I have confirmed this because I read articles and I ask people whether this is a thing. It is a thing. The TBS Championship hold on. Frank's Pickleball ass, go fuck yourself, buddy, with the Knicks. All right? The Knicks are fantastic. All right? Anyway, the TBS Championship may be coming to AEW TV. I think it's actually almost a done deal. So they're going to have a mid-card title for the women, which is incredible. What a fucking concept. I've always wondered, how come WWF never had a women's intercontinental champion? They got 400 women on the roster. Why not? So I'm going to go to Chris first. Chris, they got the TNT Championship. Why not the TBS Championship? I think it's great. I think it's a great marketing scheme, to put over the Turner channels. What do you think of this, Chris?
I'm good with it. And don't let Tony Khan hear you saying it's a mid-card championship. He got quite offended when somebody referred to the TNT title as a mid-card championship.
Oh, it is what it is.
It's a secondary title to the World Championship.
Sorry.
It's a great way to establish talent, or give people that used to be champion
the PBS
title,
Championship.
So it's good. They got to be careful. I know a lot of people want different things, trios titles, all this shit. They just have to be careful with having too many championships, because then they end up not meaning as much. Thus far, I'll say AEW has done a very, very good job of protecting all of their titles. So if they can do that with this one too, I'll be good with it. I'm
going to disagree with you on one thing, Chris. There are some people. I remember I used to work with this asshole, Nick Hausman, and he really fucking hated that too many belts. And I know more belts. See, when I was a kid growing up, and Chris, you can understand this, and Yvette, you can understand this. Watching old school wrestling, I remember when Rick Steiner was the Florida State heavyweight champion. I remember when we had the Western States Heritage title. I remember when we had not only the World Tag Team Champions, we had the U.S. Tag Team Champions and the National Tag Team Champions. But guess what? It's all about the build around the title. All those titles meant something. They had some fucking. And by the way, the Texas. Was it the Texas? The Western State Heritage title is one of my favorite designs. It's a fantastic title belt. So, Chris, I mean, you're saying to me that no, we don't want to have too many titles, but I think this company is doing a great job, like that TNT Championship. And then, Chris, you can retort, or we'll just go to the vet.
Oh, I will.
Is a big, it's a big champion. It's an important championship. Miro is putting that shit over, man.
Yeah, Miro's doing great. But Ray, what you're talking about isn't comparable to AEW because it was so much of a broader scale. Oh. So just think about the numbers alone. We're going back to the territory days. So the numbers alone of the people affiliated with the NWA and the level of talent, how many people they had. They had enough people to where you wouldn't see the Western States Heritage title defended on TV every week. You'd see it in different places, different territories. In AEW, it's a more condensed roster with not as much talent. And they're building the women's division and getting more credible athletes and wrestlers in there. So if they end up having a bunch of belts, who's going to hold them? That's kind of my opinion.
Well, you have 400 people on the roster, dude. Just saying. You have two shows. Listen, I'm sorry. Rampage vet and
71 people on the AEW roster, men and women.
Not too bad, but I'm Dave Meltzer counting, so I'm gonna say 2,000. Here's the deal, vet. What do you think of this? And we're talking about all these, too many belts. But look, man, Rampage is going to be 2 hours this week. Didn't we just talk about this like about a week and a half ago or something like that? Didn't we say that Rampage was going to go from 1 hour to 2 hours? Was it me or you or Silvio? I know, one of the two. But you guys are both fucking sexy and handsome, so I can't, differentiate. What do you think of the situation, bro? You think another belt you think this will work?
TBS, pretty funny.
A WTBS belt. W's got to be there.
I don't know. Isn't everything going to be moving to TBS eventually?
Yes, both shows.
Allegedly.
So you're going to have then you're going to have a TNT championship that's just going to be, oh yeah, we used to be on this channel. Like I assume they're going to come up with some cool acronym for TBS or something.
They probably turned to the television title. I don't know why they just didn't go to the television title route. I love the NWA, that they use the old school red, NWA television title. I think, isn't Brodus walking around with that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
The Manster.
Okay. So that what they're going to be doing, yes, the programming will be on TBS, but they're going to do evidently 4 annual specials like Clash of the Champions that will air on TNT. So I guess that will still keep the TNT title close to the name.
I like this. Frank Spicklevaras, the AEW Jaguar 0.0 championship. That is fucking fantastic. Any other thing you want to talk about before we get into the last story of the day, before we jump into AEW's Grand Slam?
No, I'm just excited to talk about the show. I thought it was fucking great.
All right, so we got one last story here. Then it's just a quick little. Fox News is reporting this.
So it's true.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Fox News. Now me and Vet, if you guys listen to our review of NXT 2.0 2021, we spoke about this character, a guy named Joe Gacy. And Fox News is reporting WWE pins woke left with controversial new wrestler, introducing Joe Gacy, who insists ring is a safe space and he doesn't need male privilege. So this is a thing now, guys. It's becoming a thing. Silvio, have you seen this character?
No, I didn't watch. I know who Joe Gacy is, and he's a talented wrestler. I didn't watch NXT this week.
Vet, you are the man, dude. Why don't you explain to this gentleman a little bit about this character? Because we literally just spoke about this.
Well, you see, what it would be is this guy comes out and he uses buzzwords that the alt-right likes to throw back at the left and to mock them with it. And he's using that as describing his character and what he's going to do.
Can you give me some examples?
Well, like the safe space thing, that's how he opened his promo, was saying that this ring is a safe space. And
so they could call him a snowflake or whatever.
So, yeah, exactly. Like he's the embodiment of all these. He's wearing just a button-up, collared shirt, and just like he looks like if Kevin Owens really was trying to dress up,
yes,
like that, that kind of thing. So he basically just has like business casual on, but he taped his fists. So and of course he
didn't work in trunks. He worked in
he worked in pants. Yes,
he worked in some Banana Republic slacks.
Yeah, he had his boots on under. Because those look like dress shoes, when they're like the patent leather boots and everything. So he did that, and he's doing the kind of like I'm a heel because I'm obviously trying to be a babyface gimmick. Like he's saying all this, and then the first thing he does is not a clean break on the ropes and tries to punch whoever in the mouth, and get shown up and stuff like that. So I don't know if there's really legs to this gimmick, because who really cares? This is just. They do stuff like this, and I think I said yesterday, like this reeks of Bruce Pritchard, who probably learned all these. Someone taught him all these terms and phrases. Maybe Conrad, I don't know, but this seems like a thing he would do just to do it, to make a statement. Not that he has any plans for Joe Gacy. Not that this character will ever go anywhere. Not that it has anything to do with sports or competition. So. But it caught Fox's attention.
I had absolutely no interest in this topic until you explain what it is. That I think this does have legs, but only if they decide to push the boundaries with it. I
Well-
love shit like that because you can bring out legitimate emotion. You can bring out topical talking points. If I were booking it, I would pull the throttle up. Like you remember Goldust in 95, 96, how great they presented him. Then when they started getting scared and they got a few calls to the network, they went away from the
Chickened out.
Goldust train that was working. So if they actually leaned into this, I think it'd be fucking good.
Well, let me clarify. When I say it doesn't have legs, what I'm saying is it will go nowhere because of where it is. Right. Of course, any gimmick has legs, and the WWE and multiple times throughout history have tried to push gimmicks with no legs damn near into the ground, just out of spite or out of stubbornness or whatever their reasons are for any given gimmick at any given time. So this, I don't think they have any real interest in it. I think they're just using Joe Gacy as a patsy to get their shit in.
What does this even mean? Goldust reminds me of the Vet.
I mean, without the paint, I could see where the similar.
No, you're way better looking than Dustin, bro.
I agree, but I'm just saying, some of these guys have no taste.
And Silvio, really quickly, Silvio, check this out. So we had also spoke about, and this is where, this is interesting. Vince McMahon has stated that he wanted NXT 2.0 to be edgy. So they were saying the F word and they were literally saying it on air. You could see the guy say, fuck, yelling at students and with mask on their face and stuff. And, they want the women to wear less, so on and so forth.
Like
so
during the match?
During the show.
It was during a pre-taped vignette. Yeah,
right.
They had a whole. Why are we talking about NXT, man? I'm done with that shit. That shit was rotten. Let's move on to something a little bit more topical and timely, please.
Okay. Well, I think that's about it. Silvio, anything you want to say before we go? And you want to bury me?
Let's light the fuse.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for AEW Grand Slam. Ladies and gentlemen, AEW's Grand Slam came to us live from Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens, New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, it was on air on TNT Network at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you missed it, go to your local provider. You can probably find a replay. But this shit kicked off hot as fuck. Holy shit. Ladies and gentlemen, we freaking kicked the night off with the American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. And I'm going to say this to you boys at the very top. For me, everything was a slow crawl downhill. That's for me. I have no idea why they kicked the show off with this fucking great match. And I use the word great. And for those who didn't watch this match, it did end in a 30-minute time limit draw. And it was one of the best time limit draws I've seen in quite some time. I'm going to go straight down to Mr. Silvio. Susio, what did you think of this match, brother?
This match was a classic. It was one of the best television wrestling matches of recent memory.
It really was.
I'm sure there probably has been comparable ones, so I'm not going to say it's like the best TV match ever. I can't remember the last time I saw a match that good on TV that had that amount of time. So big props to Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson as well. We got a Broadway out of it, a time limit draw, which I think was an appropriate finish under the circumstances. That's what I was hoping would happen because we just had Omega lose to Christian. So I didn't want to necessarily see Omega lose again, and you don't want Bryan losing on his way in. So I thought it was a good finish. The crowd was booing after the time limit draw because they wanted Bryan to win. And then the Young Bucks and Gallows, I think, come out. The Elite come out. Adam Cole was with
Cole was there, yeah.
Yeah. And so I get kind of mad for a second because I'm like, man, we just had this awesome match. Like let the people just digest it and let Daniel Bryan stare at Kenny Omega across the ring. Why do we got to trot the Elite out? Then we see Jungle Boy and Cage and Luchasaurus come out and whip ass. By the end of that ass whipping, the crowd was cheering. So I said, touche. Well done. Well done, AEW. Now I understand why you did it. But phenomenal match. I can't say enough good things about it. Just the emotion, the selling, the pacing. Great pro wrestling.
Hey, Vet, Media M5 says, I guess they wanted the ratings numbers in first. Should have been a main event, so on and so forth. I think that's the crust of what he's saying there. That's kind of what I thought too. But, dude, what did you think of this match first and foremost? And was it in fact...
This is such good shit.
Or was it just... what you think, man?
Well, the match to me was... I mean, I watch New Japan, so seeing two white guys doing it, it's not that, it's I see this all the time. So it's not that special to me, but I guess I think that the wrestling audience, here that has to watch shit like Raw and SmackDown and stuff don't get to see stuff like this on a regular basis. So it's a special treat. Now as for the placement of the match, if the way Silvio describes how this whole thing played out, the way he laid it out like that, which is how it happened, man, that does seem like a good way to go off the air, doesn't it?
Sure fucking
Rather
does.
than to just be like, oh, and here's some more show. But AEW has been, if you've noticed, especially since CM Punk came on board, they have been front loading all of their shows. They want you I guess the thinking is if somebody is hearing, hey, man, you got to check out AEW, and you've been putting it off like, man, I don't want to watch that shit. I'm done with wrestling, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe you finally was like, okay, let me just check it out. So if you check it out and the first thing you see is the hottest thing they have, I think that's probably what the thinking is with the placement of the card. And also, yeah, you don't want to end the show in a draw, even though you could have some cool, hot action to go off there afterwards, kind of like old school Nitro style. But I don't know. I can see both points. I probably would have put the match on last, but I'm not going to say that it's that what they did was wrong. I can understand what they're thinking in the position that they're in right now, which is the AEW's at a tipping point where, and I think they've already, they're already well on their way to establishing themselves as potentially pretty dominant in the marketplace. So they kind of have to just keep the foot on the pedal at this point. So I think that front loading the shows for now, and then if you see what happens with a lot of like the Raw 3rd hour drop-offs, even when they have good main events advertised, or maybe you're just going to walk out if you're there, you see that people do like run out of gas at a certain point. So, it's risky. It's a form of hot shotting, to be honest. So time will tell if it'll pay off or not, but it seems to be going okay now because the AEW fans are relatively forgiving, New York City notwithstanding.
Banana. Professor, the magnanimous, glorious, and scholarly Professor Chabela de la Cruz, or the professor here, says, draw ain't the issue. It's the placement of the match. How do you not produce compelling TV promoting backstage vignettes and promos, and you build towards Rampage? So this had been the main event. So I think Susio, he thinks that this should have been the main event. Any of this changing your mind here? Do you think this placement was good? Do you think it was bad?
Thank you for the comment, Professor. I don't really understand what he's asking there, but as far as
really quickly, because I speak Professor, I know him for almost 10 years. Basically, what he's saying is that he feels that this should have been in the main event.
So we've had, Hameen and I have had many discussions on the history of Light the Fuse on should we have reversed the opening match in the main event. That's something that happens a lot. Usually it's the Young Bucks that'll come out and have a banger in the first match. And then we're like, fuck, what are they going to do now in the main event? This one, if I were booked, don't get me wrong, if I were booking I would have made it the main event and found a way to make that work with the appropriate finish. But I do understand why they did this, and I'm okay with it being on first. As a viewer, I'm okay with that because I got what I tuned in to see right away. So here's the gamble, boys. Here's what my opinion of their thought process. So they had two choices. Choice number one is to give them this awesome thing everyone wants to see first and have the viewers that would be tuning in just to see Daniel Bryan wrestle see this awesome match and then stick around for the rest of the show, as opposed to taking the reverse risk of having people waiting to see Daniel Bryan at the end of the night, and maybe they didn't enjoy X match so much, or maybe they got tired of sitting around and waiting. So they thought it was a more calculated gamble to have that match go on first. And of course, I'm sure they wanted to start with a strong rating. So that's my belief, is that they felt the rating would be stronger throughout the show if they started with something that strong. And I thought it was a good show overall. Obviously, none of the matches could top what they did because they're both great, and it was a 30-minute classic. But I thought the show was still good. Every match on the card was good, some better than others. So, nobody followed that match per se, but right after it, Punk got the crowd right back, and they were into the rest of the night.
I gotta jump in real quick, but go ahead, Fed, please.
Well, I just saw Gully Blanchard say that he wants Ben here to shut this down because we're putting this on first. I think we're explaining why they might have put it on first. I think all three of us just said, if you were paying attention, that it's supposed to be at the end. But if
I would have booked this as the main event.
Yeah, if this is too high level for you and you can't just follow along with what we're saying, Gully, I don't know. Anyways, I think a part of the professor's comment that was getting a little bit overlooked too is that he was talking about the build of the match. Mm-hmm. And perhaps subsequently, if you were to put this on the main event, you have more opportunity to build throughout, just with little things sprinkled throughout this show leading up to the main event. They could have done that. I think the build for this match was weak. I think the reason the build is weak is because they just think the match sells itself, so they didn't really have to put any effort into it. Half of it was just, recaps of anything anybody said in the ring. It was like a package of Daniel Bryan, saying something, from the last week. So it's not like it was like they didn't try to sell you this match because they figured you already all bought it.
So let me ask you this, Matt, on that point. After what we saw last night, the match and its conclusion, what does the viewer now want to see?
They want to see a match that's similar to that match, but with an actual resolution.
And do you think they want to see the title on the line?
Of course they do.
Right. And where is that match likely to take place? Do you think it would be on the quarterly pay-per-view, or do you think it would be on TV?
Ooh, all out.
Yep, I think they're going to sell it on a pay-per-view.
So now we got that build. We got the tease for it. We saw what they could do. Fuck. This was Fast and Furious 1 was cool. I'd like to see Fast and Furious 2. Well, now we're at 9 or fucking 10.
Yeah.
So they're kind of reverse building. It's a weird way, not traditional, but even if the viewer doesn't see it now, we're getting a build. And it's probably going to be a pretty long build. I'll eat crow if that's not the case, but I think that's where they're going.
I really am itching to say this in Media M5. This is a perfect comment because it leads me into the next segue of what I wanted to say. And I'll go to Susio first on this one after I make my little statement. How could Media M5 says, how could they follow that though? Look, what the fuck did they do in that match? LOL. All right. So CM Punk gets on, right? He gets on the mic, he comes down the ring, and the very first fucking thing he does, in my humble opinion, and I want you to shoot me down and kick me in the face and tell me I'm wrong. All right? Because if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. He shit on the rest of the show coming up. The first thing he says is, CM Punk gets, how are you going to follow this shit? How are you going to follow this match? I mean, that was the best. I wouldn't want to wrestle, because everything I would do after this is shit. So now, guess what, Susio? Everything after this, I'm thinking about what CM Punk said. CM Punk went into business for himself here. I didn't like that. And some people will say CM Punk is a bit of a cancer when it comes to this. Your thoughts?
I didn't necessarily like the line, but it was Phil Brooks being Phil Brooks. and it was authentic.
I get it,
So
but
I'm okay with it. Then he later, so here's the brilliance of it. I don't think that line should have been used, but it was. Here's the brilliance of it. He said, man, I can't. How do you follow that? I can't follow that. By the end of his promo, the fucking place is standing and chanting loudly for CM Punk. CM Punk did follow that, and he didn't take a single bump.
Yep. And we knew he would, and that's why they put him in that spot. Because what else could you do? To answer the question of how are they going to follow that in terms of like what they do more, if you ever watch these guys work more than 1 or 2 times, you know that they didn't do any of the stuff like that they could have done. They left a lot out of that match. So don't worry about what they'll be able to do next time. They'll do it. Maybe to their detriment, but they'll do it. But yeah, so are we on the CM Punk promo now? Because
we're still talking CM Punk promo, please.
Okay, so like the promo was good and he made it make sense. But is he like campaigning for office or something? Like, because he talks as much about his theme song and mentions his theme song as anything else he does. And it just seems like he's trying harder than he needs to.
Yeah.
So, but you know, he hasn't done it in a few years. So like, I'll give him a pass on it. But I am just saying, like, knowing this guy, like this is, he's putting it on a little, he's putting on the baby face a little bit strong. Just him being there and existing is the most baby face thing he can do. He doesn't have to like continue to sell us on it.
Yeah.
And that's just how I feel. But like he said, like Silvio said, he turned the people weren't all that into it. You could hear him dropping lines like punches and waiting for the response, and there'd just be nothing. Like it's crickets. You know what I mean? So that's like he was cutting like a WWE produced promo or something, and then he finally just got so fired up that the people felt like, okay, let's cheer for him, kind of thing.
But at this point, I think we all fucking know that CM Punk loves this shit. This is pro wrestling. He's back in pro wrestling. I think we know this, and I think we know that he's excited and happy to be back. Because it's true. I don't know if it's forced. It's probably very genuine from Mr. Phil Brooks. I would assume that it's genuine from people I know and people like you, Chris, that CM Punk and you've worked with him, so on and so forth. It's genuine. He's genuinely happy to be there. But I think we need to push that aside already, in my humble opinion. I think we need to push that aside and say, okay, down to brass tacks. Now, he tried to do that in this promo that he cut. From what I got from the promo, he said, all right, I'm happy to be here, but now it's down to business. You want to see angry CM Punk. You want to see asshole CM Punk. You want to see the CM Punk that dropped the pipe bomb on the fucking ramp at WWE. This is what we want. Are we going to get that, Chris? Is that coming?
I don't know. I do think you're correct, Ray, in the sense that we do need to quickly start moving past the honeymoon phase. Like he's got a little bit of time.
Too much smiling. I'm sorry.
2 or 3 more shows, babyface into the audience, but then everyone wants to see him get down to business. I think he's being 100% genuine where it's coming from. And you got to look at it this way. You all know this. There's a difference between a 25-year-old man and a 40-year-old man. They are thinking things completely different. Their temperament, their morals, their values, we change over time. The angry CM Punk was a dude that felt attacked all of the time, that had to fight for a spot that people didn't want to give a shot to, that was mad at his employers, was still selling a bunch of shit, but they still wouldn't let him be the guy. He was hurt, he was sick, XYZ. So that was his authentic emotion that was coming out. He wasn't acting before. He was mad. He did feel slighted. Now he's happy. He feels appreciated. So we're getting Punk's genuine. Either way you look at it, Punk's presentation is genuine, which is what made him get over. He was an unlikely candidate to become a huge wrestling star, but his genuineness as a performer is what helped propel him there, other than his skill set. So we're going to get to it. I don't think we'll ever see the same Punk. Same way when Shawn Michaels came back and had the best matches of his career, in my opinion, with Angle and Flair and blah, blah, blah. We didn't get the sexy boy Shawn stuffing a banana in his pants and doing the suck it to Jim Ross. we got an older, more mature Shawn Michaels. I think that's what's happening with Punk.
Okay. I guess we'll see. Anything you want to add here, Vet?
Yeah, I would just say, like, for me, it's all about the crafting of the words. When you say things like, look at me, guys, I'm smiling. I know he doesn't have to be the grizzled, 29-year-old or whatever anymore, but just don't be cringe when you're trying to show how happy you are.
Oh, look at Vet using 2021 terms that my teenager would use.
Yeah, that word's been around a lot longer than all your kids.
Yeah, but the kids are using it now.
True.
The other day I did something and my son Aiden was like, Dad, that's so cringe. I'm like, what? Like, whatever. I've gotten to that point now where I am my father, where I have no idea what the fuck I'm fucking talking about.
Does your kid think your music is whack?
Yes. He thinks old hip hop sucks.
But he thinks that his kid's music is whack, so it balances out.
It
is.
But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, though. I'll give Aiden, my son, I'll give him a big shout out, man. Number one, I love my kid. He's awesome. Number two, this kid cannot wait. And Sil, it's gonna be between you and Ben. One of you guys is gonna have to train this kid. He's just turned 13. He is now 6 feet tall. He's got my build. He's very athletic. And the kid is very charismatic and good looking. I'm not just saying he looks more like his mother, my ex-wife. It's fact. That's number one. Number two, I keep asking him, son, what do you want to do? So he's going to the school of he wants to get into a visual arts high school because he wants to learn his craft. He loves acting. And this is all part of pro wrestling. And then I said, what do you want to do for a living? Seriously. Dad, I want to wrestle. He's been telling me this since he was a kid. So when that time comes, I'm going to reach out to you. I'm gonna reach out to Ben, and I'm telling you, this kid may happen. So, but I told him, I said, I want you to get a college education. But
sure,
that goes.
That's good advice as a father.
But that will only go so far. But anyway, neither here nor there.
Speaking of people's kids.
Well, speaking of people's kids, that's perfect. Fuck. See, this is why I work with the Vet all the time. When you hear this music, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't it just?
Boo!
Oh, yes. Oh, I love it. I drink the tears. All you fucking marks. Oh, and I'm one of them, by the way. I'm the mark of the masses. Oh, MJF versus the son of the guy who's in hell, Brian Pillman Jr. Wow, I got to tell you something, guys. This was a decent match between these two guys. And you're going to think I'm crazy when I say this. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. I loved that Brian Pillman lost, and I loved that he tapped out. And Chris Silvio, I'm going to go to the Vet first. Then I'll go to Chris, and then I'll explain to you why I loved this so much. Vet, what did you think of this match, buddy?
The match was all right. I'm just going to point out one little thing.
Yes, sir.
That was a big thing to me, but it's sort of it's a problem across the board. So that's why I like to address the things that I see everywhere and not just sound like I'm trying to pick on one company, but I see it in this match. So they did the spot where they go for the backdrop and then he kicks him up, and then they go for the backdrop again and he misses the kick because this already happened, right? So that was interesting. It's a variation on that spot that we've seen a million times. The problem, though, is when people do the spot, the common mistake, and I'm sure you've seen this many times, Silvio, where the guy hooks the ropes to stop himself, and then the guy just sits down there waiting on a bus for the guy to walk over and kick him. Right? You do either one or the other. You either come off the ropes and kick him up, or you hook the ropes and he stands up and comes for you. You don't do both. You got to pick one, and you got to know that. So that's like a thing that usually MJF is good about that kind of stuff, but here it didn't work. So just shore that up and take it away. So
there's a third option to that too, Jamie, that I'll sometimes utilize, is hooking the rope with one arm while simultaneously kicking with your right leg up.
If they're close enough. Mm-hmm. A lot of times the guys are like in the damn middle.
Sure.
So it's not feasible. Yeah.
I was going to jump in real quick for the people that didn't watch this show. By the way, MJF did go over. He made Pillman Jr. tap out to the Salt of the Earth, which is an armbar, and basically.
And you said you loved it.
And I did love it.
Tell us why you loved it.
No, I want to hear your thoughts of the match
Just tell
first.
me why you loved it.
You want to hear why I loved it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you why I loved it. I loved it because now we can build on this feud. We can build this story. See, people, Sil, last week we talked about high-fiving and fucking, Brian Pillman Jr. coming down the ramp. Yeah, all right, I'm a baby face, right? So was his father until he snapped. AEW, if the Stooges are out there, if you're listening to this, listen. Man, how awesome would it be if this becomes not just a feud, but a fucking blood feud, much like Brian Pillman and Stone Cold Steve Austin? I mean, well, we have Brian Pillman Jr. I mean, he does like to hunt. I know, maybe holding a gun to maybe a bow and arrow to him. Maybe we recreate a little bit of that. I can see Brian Pillman Jr. fucking losing it. And people will love him for that because it's in his DNA. This is why I want Brian Pillman to continuously lose to MJF until he fucking snaps. Chris, your thoughts?
You have something to that, Ray. It could work. I'm okay with him losing via submission because I feel like triumph means more if you have adversity and tragedy. That's every feel-good story. We have that moment of huge adversity before the hero gets whatever it is they're seeking. That's life, right? We go through shitty 10 shitty relationships before we get a good one and get married or whatever the fuck it is, right? What turned me off, and I'm a huge supporter of Pillman Jr., and I think he has tremendous upside and potential. What turned me off right away was Julia Hart coming out with him doing the pom-poms.
Yes.
I think they're trying to build him as a single star. He needs to get away from the Varsity Blondes thing. No offense, but that shit's whack. They're not in high school. Pillman has presented himself as a Cincinnati boy, and he is. He's legit. That's who he is. He's a tough kid from Cincinnati that could wrestle his ass off, and he could probably fight. I don't think he needs to be white meat babyface. He needs to just be himself. And when we're having the cheerleader, so he called his mom a meth addict, his sister a slut, all this shit. But for the match, a cheerleader comes out with him smiling. No, fuck stupid. That. He should have said, boom, put his hand out, said, no, I don't want you out here for this. This is going to be brutal. Get back there. And he goes in and starts whipping ass, and we get more of a strike-based, kind of blood feud-esque type of match as opposed to a good wrestling match. Hopefully, Big Ray, as you pointed out, we're going to get that down the line. But the further they could get Pillman away from that first act, because right now he's in two acts. He's in the Varsity Blondes, and then he's Brian Pillman Jr., the Cincinnati singles guy.
Right.
So once we can get him away from Varsity Blondes and into this new role, and he adapts to it and understands week by week how to better play it, he's going to be great, heel or babyface.
But isn't he is Brian Pillman a heel? Junior, is he a heel? I mean, MJF walked right in the middle of the ring and extended the hand. He wanted to apologize. He wanted to shake his hand, but he didn't shake his hand.
That son of a bitch. How
What?
dare he? Oh. Yeah. One of the reasons that I enjoy the Fuse is because I listen to Susio and I listen to his positivity and I listen to his silver linings, and he's really offering a lot of constructive criticisms and advice and things like that in a very positive way. And so I don't want to just come in here and go in hard on these guys, but I agree with everything that you said about how, with the Julia Hart and the Varsity Blondes and everything like that. And I would do it in a more vehement disagreement way.
Another great word. I got to put it over. Your vocabulary is unbelievable.
Thank you.
Sorry, please.
But you, Ray, you laid out a great idea. Okay. And Silvio, you laid out what should have happened in this match. Okay. Which didn't happen, really. Let's be honest. And the reason that it didn't happen, and the reason that other thing is probably not going to happen, and it's not going to work if it does happen, is because bless his heart, Brian Pillman Jr. is just so new at this, and he can't pull those things off at this current point. Even though he was a heel in MLW with the little Hart Foundation thing that they did. So we know he's got the attitude to pull that off, but it's one thing to, do a certain promo or a certain vignette or whatever little pre-tapes that you do. And it's another thing to have to go out there and do it live. And then tell a story in the type of match when you're just trying to remember how to do your moves. And you can see the wheels turning in his head still as he's out there trying to get this stuff in there. And MJF is like 15 to 20 years mentally ahead of where a guy his age should be, but that the reps aren't all there either. So he's not like perfect at wrangling a guy like Brian yet. He's really good at it, and this match could have been a hell of a lot worse in the wrong hands. But aside from all of that, it doesn't help either that the entire run of AEW, Brian Pillman's just been doing jobs. And he's on a tag team with a guy that no one knows who the fuck it is and doesn't look like he could beat anybody, and Julia Hart looks bigger and tougher than him. Oof. And that guy gets all the wins in their tag team, and Brian takes all the pins. So why ever that's happening, I don't know. It's happening, but I just worry about Brian's development a little bit in this environment, because there's a lot of people coming from the Nightmare Factory and stuff that are getting TV time, and it shows that they're just now getting the TV time. So.
Chris.
To your point, too, that I agree with you in the fact that Pillman needs these reps. We're watching him develop on national TV. And as a performer, when you're too focused on what you have to do from point A to point B, you forget the smaller details like emotion and connection. And you got to remember this. He is asked to be the polar opposite of what he was at MLW. Mm-hmm. So he went from being an edgy heel who was learning the business to a squeaky clean babyface in an 80s tag team gimmick, like the Can-Am connection. That skullfucks a wrestler. That I remember you being a heel. Did you ever work as a babyface?
Not in front of people.
Okay. So I've seen this happen many, many times. Thankfully, I'm kind of a babyface in life, so I usually was okay at being a babyface. But when you watch a heel start trying to be a babyface, it is always very uncomfortable at the start. If somebody's just worked a heel, Ali Vaez from OVW comes to mind bigger than anyone, and I busted his balls about it all the time because it was so funny. He was this dark, dirty heel for 10 years. Then when he does the turn, the first week he comes through the curtain and he goes, yeah. And I was like, Ali, no, still be you, be you.
Yeah.
Trust me on this babyface thing. Just they like you now. Just play it cool. So that's why I'm understanding. I know the process and I know what he's going through. If he just listens to the right people and picks apart his matches, he'll be fine. And Brian, he used to hit me up back in the day. Brian, feel free to reach out if you want a little brother guidance or feedback. I'm happy anytime to give it to you.
Yes, to be clear, I love Brian and I loved his dad. And so everything I say comes with love. But it's just like, and he did his tour of going around and trying to learn as much as he could and cramming it in. And as anybody that's crammed for things knows, it doesn't all stick. There's a bottleneck. But Ray wants to hit the that was what she said button, and
I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, good. So yeah, it's tough. And let me ask you this too, Susio, is when you are being a babyface from a heel, does it ever is part of the problem, like you're self-conscious about what you're doing because you're like, are they gonna like me? They're supposed to like me, but are they gonna? Because if they don't, this don't work. Is any of that enter into it?
Yes, it's a lot easier, as you know, to make people dislike you than it is to make people like you. Mm-hmm. And if you're you have to do less as a heel. As a heel, if you walk out to the ring and you don't look at a single fan and you just walk out to the ring with your nose in the air, by the time you're to the ring, at least half the audience is like, this guy's probably a bad guy because he didn't look at any of us. And then you throw one look that makes you kind of look like an asshole, and maybe you say a line that cements you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Then you get in the ring, you cheat. Okay, he's a bad guy. As babyface, you don't have that same luxury. There has to be something else to you. It has to be the swagger in your walk. It has to be the force of your walk, a la Stone Cold Steve Austin, or it's got to be a magnetic thing that comes out when you come through the curtain. Think of John Cena. It's much harder to make people like you than it is to make them dislike you. But like Rip always told us, Jamie, if you can become a great heel, you can become a great babyface because you know what it takes to get somebody over.
And that's why my dad loved being a heel. You know, my father was a babyface in real life. You know, he was a Christian minister. He was a manager at a large, well, he worked at Kmart. He was a assistant manager, or I think he worked his way all the way up. But he was a babyface all the time. So when he was in that ring, he was a bad guy, and I used to watch him be a bad guy. And my dad, I wasn't used to seeing that side of my father. When he was working in the ring and hitting people with chairs and tripping opponents. It was so fucking cool. It is much easier to be a bad guy, and it's a lot of fun. I can only imagine. Again, fortunately, I never followed that suit, that my dad did for many, many years, well over a decade. But I wanted to play this really quickly for the vet.
That's what she said. Or he said.
All right, let's move on, if that's okay.
I have one more little detail to add that kind of ties into what we were saying about CM Punk and the whole heel babyface dynamic. I spent a large portion of my wrestling career being a heel and significant playing babyface. As I got the last few years of me being an active wrestler, I could still be a heel and go out and get heat, but I didn't want it anymore because I didn't feel like a heel any longer. So it's kind of the same thing I explained with CM Punk. Like, I wanted to present naturally who I was. And I'd argue that I connected with the audience in that time period better than any other time, because there was no type of putting on airs. It was who I was. I was just being myself. So it's all very relatable.
Fans love what they perceive to be authentic.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt. I'm just writing a little retort here. And ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the very next match of the night. And boy, this was very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we get the comeback. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes, Chris Silvio put it over. He is the son of a plumber's, the son of the plumber's grandson, or whatever the hell. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the man that came in here. We didn't need no Ric Flair. We don't need no Tully Blanchard. No, ladies and gentlemen, this is the golden one. Cody Rhodes with his beautiful wife. His biracial child. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the king is back. Crashing thrones. It is the one and only Cody Rhodes. Oh, yes, Daddy, he makes his comeback here. Oh, wow. Oh, let me just ease out of this. The greatness is way too much. The greatness is way too much.
Big Ray, you're going to have to ride on another planet. Because the vet, I reserve the stratosphere for me.
Oh, Daddy, let me tell you something. I've slept in alleys and eaten pork and beans, and I've dined with king and queens, Daddy. Let me tell you something, Daddy. Cody Rhodes came down to that ring. His wife got into the ring, Daddy. Flipping the double bird. Oh, yeah.
He was dressed like Evel Knievel.
With a big tattoo on his neck that I couldn't take my eye off the entire match. That thing is a fucking sore. It's an eyesore, Daddy. Fucking Christ. And his wife gave the double bird to the Malachi Black. Yes, she did. God rest the soul of Sweet Sapphire as she looked down on this match. Boy, what a fucking interesting match this was. The fans just fucking turned on Cody, as so they should. Because Cody should not be a fucking good guy. He wasn't. Yes, the fans, they harnessed the darkness of Malachi Black, and they said, we want to go that way. Fuck the straight and narrow path. We want to go the crazy path.
Big Ray, I gotta ask you.
Please ask me.
I was born there, but I was not raised there. I was raised in the South.
Yes, Daddy.
Is this a New York thing?
Tell me, Daddy.
The reaction. Is this a New York thing? Or do you think that is the reaction of the overall fan base?
Well, let me tell you something, Daddy. We talking about hard times. I need you to all reach out and touch your computer screens. We didn't have computer screens back in the 80s. But let's just touch me. That's right. I tell my wife that all the time. It doesn't work. Anyway, I really think that this is an AEW fan base thing. Because here's the deal. Okay, AEW fans are tired of Stephanie McMahon slapping people in the face. They're tired of Vince McMahon walking out with his big grapefruits and telling people what to do and where to go. They're tired of Triple H. That's why the God himself, Cody Rhodes, destroyed that throne, Daddy. So I think, honestly, that this is just the AEW fan base saying, "Fuck you, you're the authority. We don't want to be a part of you guys. We don't want to root for you guys. We want to root for the fucking underdog, the guy that was underutilized in the WWE. Yeah, he's a bad guy. He's our Undertaker. He's a 20-year-old. Those kids that are 14, 15, 13, like my son, 20 years old. Even though I'll give Aiden credit. Some of his favorite wrestlers come from the 80s. He loves watching old school wrestling. He'll sit down and watch an hour-long match between a Dynamite Kid and fucking Tiger Mask. Seriously. He really appreciates it, man. He's a good boy. I love him.
How old's your son?
13. Just turned 13. So just put it out
Anytime you
there.
want to do a Florida vacation, Big Ray, come on down to Tampa. Come with them to the ring, and safely I'll show him a few things.
Well, let me tell you something, Daddy.
He's a little old for a Japanese girl, but he should be just at the right age to do a little rolling around.
Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something.
In England, they start training at 12. FYI.
I do have family in Kissimmee, Florida, and also in Orlando, Daddy. So I go down there at least once a year. But if it wasn't for COVID, let me tell you something. COVID has brought hard times. Touch the screen. Anyway, thank you. Yeah, man. So what did you? I gotta actually step away to the restroom.
Yeah, let me do a little play-by-play on this.
So please break this down. I'm just gonna hit the mute button on this. Please do.
And then
I'll be right back.
I want to get your opinion, and then I'll do my own breakdown. So we saw a I'd say overall a pretty good match with these two. The noticeable thing in this match was the crowd was extremely pro Malachi Black, and extremely anti Cody Rhodes. We saw the return of Brandy. Brandy did get a bit of a pop when she came out through the curtain with Cody. Kind of the story that they told here was Black kind of overmatched Cody a bit in the striking. Cody was trying to work on the leg of Black to set up the figure four. We had Arn Anderson pop up during a big false finish to tell Cody to kick out. That led to Cody hitting the ropes and accidentally knocking Arn off the ring. If you notice during that segment,
more on that later.
Yeah,
or now.
Off camera, something was going on. I thought somebody was coming through the crowd.
I know exactly what happened.
But
you know now what happened?
Well, based on the context of what I heard, it seemed like Arn slipped off of the mat or ring and then had to pop up on the other side. Is that?
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I'll break that down in a little more detail, but go ahead and finish the.
Yep. So we have Arn get bumped off. Cody obviously is concerned. Arn tells him, "You're in a fight. Get the fuck back to it." They roll back into the ring where Malachi had not retrieved some poison mist from under the ring while Cody pulled him out. And then for the finish, we got Malachi Black using a poison mist variant and a schoolboy for the 1-2-3 on Cody Rhodes.
Yes, that is what happened.
Take it away, Vet.
All right, let's start with the beginning. This Cody fellow is the only guy, possibly the only guy, with the audacity for his entrance music to have entrance music. So right off the bat, if you want to answer the question, who is this a New York thing or is this the AEW fans being sick and tired? I think we're halfway there already. If that gear that he had is a tribute to Homelander, then that is very fitting. Not only in how it fits, but in terms of the character from The Boys. So, Silvio, you are a day one AEW watcher, right?
Yep.
Even before probably they were called AEW. You watched the all-ins, all-outs, and the double or nothing.
He watched the double or nothing, daddy.
Right.
I'm a legitimate supporter of AEW.
Yes, and Ray is a brand new watcher of AEW. He's never seen it until this episode that we're talking about right now.
Would you stop?
Okay, so he might not know this, but you will. Every single match that Cody has had in this company, whether you like it or not, has been overbooked, especially the finishes. Like, if anybody's going to have 10 different distractions, ref bumps, this, that, run-ins, everything, foreign objects, it's going to be Cody's match. And that's just a fact. And this is no different, but when the spots don't come off, you really pay for it. So on top of them already hating you just for being there, let's talk about the Arn spot. Because there was some other stuff earlier, but I'm going to beat this up enough. So
hold on.
I don't.
Is this when he stumbled like an old man off the apron by mistake?
In fairness, he was attempting something minorly athletic, which I'll get to. So the spot is he gets on the apron for no reason.
Sorry.
Like right off the bat, the only reason that he's up on the apron is to do a spot. There's nothing in the match that has, psychologically would have incited Arn Anderson to climb up on the apron other than, hey, it's time for my spot now. Because what had just happened was Cody had, what did he hit the, I thought Cody hit Crossroads or something like it. Or the cutter. No, it was the Cody cutter.
This
right?
was after Cody had taken the tumble outside the ring after he got hit with the black mass. And then he came.
I know it was after that, but it wasn't right after that.
No, it wasn't right after. It was.
This was several minutes later.
I think he hit the Cody.
He hit the Cody cutter.
The Cody cutter. Yes.
And Arn and Aleister Black kicks out, and then Arn Anderson gets on the apron and starts yelling at him. So then, Arn, to get in position for where the TV camera is supposed to see him get knocked off, he's walking down the apron and he tries to circumvent the pole. Like he puts his hands around the pole and puts his foot on the other side and tries to walk around it like you would, like in a tag team match when you're on the apron and you're rotating or whatever.
Feeding the post. He tried
feeding the post. Okay. So that's what he's doing. He's feeding the post and he falls. And then because he's Arn Anderson, he's probably going to sell it. So he sells it for a couple of seconds. Okay. And you see Cody awkwardly looking like, okay. And then he gets back up on the apron just to get knocked off again. This was unfortunate is the nicest word I can use to describe this whole fucking thing. Cody should have known enough and Arn should have known enough to just stay where he was and let Cody get distracted by that and go into whatever they wanted to go into. But no, this is over.
Just got outside the ring and checked on him there.
Yeah.
You know what?
No, you got to tackle him first.
So, Silvio,
that's the important part.
So, Silvio, I'll do this just for you, okay?
Will you stop?
All right, there you go.
Okay.
Are you gonna stop now, Vet?
No, I'm not done yet.
Damn it.
So then they get in and they do the thing where he's punching Black in the corner, and the referee's got to do the spot where he's like, Cody, damn it, I told you to stop punching the man. Would you stop? This is illegal. And Cody's supposed to fling his arm back and hit him. Well, it doesn't really come off like that. Paul Turner's just meekly let me touch your hand, Cody. Let me touch your hand. And then eventually Cody just gets fed up with it and belts him with a backhand almost. It just was not.
Yeah, it looked like a bitch slap.
It was this.
Pimp slapped him.
I'm sure he pictured this going differently in his mind than what it came off as. And then this is where the aforementioned mist comes in, because this is already after he's got back in the ring with the Miz. He gets misted as the referee's looking the other way, and then goes for the small package, okay? And Cody gets cradled up, and he just lays there like a dead fish, like as if the black mass had hit him.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if he sold it as if he was knocked out, but he was cradled. And so no attempt to kick out, no wiggling, no squirming, nothing. Just lie there with your hands flat on the mat, not even like trying to cover your eyes because you just got spit in them. He just lies there like a dead fish. I'm sure that's a common thing in the Cody Rhodes household. God, how could I?
Is it possible that
No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
Is it possible that the Miz had some kind of debilitating properties?
Of course.
It would be possible if he didn't start moving immediately after the 3 count, and got let go and started rolling over and doing that stuff.
Maybe it's kind of like a taser,
a delayed effect,
momentary.
Hey, hold on. Have you guys ever gotten hit in the face with pepper spray?
Thankfully, no. I've used some and later got residue off my hand and my eyes, and it sucked. But I never been sprayed.
When I was doing campus police work at New York University, I had to. It was part of the job for us to carry the pepper spray. It is so painful that you can't fucking move. I'm just putting that out there. I'm not trying to side with Silvio.
So when you stand there and get pepper sprayed in the face, do you then lay down and do the snow angel position? Just to
I cried a lot.
But this is a pepper spray. This is
a mysterious. We don't even know what's in this mist. Damn it!
Demonic mist. It's black. It's not even. Guys, it's not even green. It's not even red. Great Muda, stand down. Mm-hmm. This is black stuff, dude.
You ever seen black mist before that? No. It could be anything.
Could be coffee. Could be Russo brand coffee.
Could be.
Strong stuff.
That would have pepped Cody up, and he would have made a comeback if it was Broser's coffee. So, in any case, I didn't like any aspect of this match at all from the beginning to the end. The best I could say is serviceable, and who I felt bad for was Black, because I do like him, and I am with the fans on this one. And when he first debuted in NXT UK, of course, not having seen him before, because I don't follow UK independent wrestling greatly. I just, I was kind of like, well, who is this guy? And then he comes to NXT America and is doing stuff there, and he grew on me. Like, he got over with me, with his work, not even so much with his character, although the presentation was cool. But he didn't talk a great deal. It was mostly just in his matches. And the more I saw him have his matches and everything and get over in the ring, the more he got over with me as a persona, as a character. I can see he really takes this stuff seriously. He's dedicated to his craft. He's always improving. And I've just been a fan of his. So I feel bad that he's kind of in this, which is a good spot for him. But creatively, like inside the ring, I'm sure he's deferring to Cody and all his different, ideas for his overbooking his matches and stuff. So that's unfortunate because, like I said, when you're part of a match like this, when these kind of things happen, it doesn't feel good, even if it's not your fault, because you just went out there in front of people and you got exposed a little bit. So I feel bad for him in that.
All right, so let me break this down a little bit. Overall, I don't agree with you. I can't say I don't agree with you because it's your opinion. I'm of a different opinion. I don't think this was a terrible match. I thought it was a solid match.
It's solid on paper. I should clarify.
And I thought pretty solid in execution, with the exception of the unfortunate arm incident. I, however, did not like the finish for the simple reason that I think if Cody was going to put him over, I'd have rather seen him put him over with the kick. Still could have used the miss. But I didn't like the fact that the referee got hit hard, and then immediately when Black rolled him up, I was expecting no ref to be there. I thought they were going to do more shenanigans, but then the ref immediately was fine enough to count 3, and that was it. So I didn't like that. But here's why it all went wrong. Like you said earlier, I say how it could have worked. I'm a fixer. So a few weeks ago, Cody puts over Black very, very strong. And then he does the promo. Hameen and I argued about it. Hameen was like, he shouldn't have done a promo after he got knocked out.
The boot promo?
Yeah. But I liked the promo. I liked Cody's passion in the promo, and he had the crowd cheering for him. And then they took it away immediately with Black hitting him with the crutch, and then Cody fucked off for a few weeks. So if we would have ended on that high point, right, of Cody doing the retirement thing and everybody cheering for him and loving him, and for the 6 weeks as Black beat up everyone in the family, he's goading Cody to come back, calling him a bitch boy, whatever the hell it takes. So eventually the audience is like, I kind of want to see Cody come back. I want to see him come back and fight this guy. So now we have at minimum, they're still going to be cheering for Black, but at minimum, we'll have half the people at least responding to Cody like a babyface. They might like Black more, but it's not going to be downright boos for Cody. So I think that's how they should have built it. They kind of dropped the ball on the build. I think Cody Rhodes is an excellent worker. The problem that's hurt Cody in AEW is that he leaves to work on these other projects, which is a businessman and one of the boys. I get it. Make your fucking money while you can. Provide a good living for your family. But the fans see it a little differently. That's why Kenny Omega doesn't get booed out of the building, even though he's their top heel. He gets Omega chance because they see Kenny there every single week. And Kenny's putting in the work. That's why the AEW crowd, I think, is turning on Cody, because he keeps going away to do other things. If you go back to year one, Cody was the guy. He was the top babyface. And I said it then and I'll say it now. It was a horrible choice to have that match with Jericho where Cody could never challenge for the world title again if he lost. It was admirable of him as an EVP to do that, but Cody was as hot as any babyface in that first year. Now, because of all the angles he's had where he does something, fucks off, the crowd kind of knows what's going to happen. And they're like, he's off making a fucking reality show and blah, blah, blah. He doesn't care about wrestling. So they're not as warm to him. But at least my suggestion would have fixed it and made him warm to him for a night. But where does he go from here? I don't know. He's going to have to turn heel, or he's going to have to find a way to pull him back.
Hey, Sil, real quick. Do you think Vern Gagne would have ever had that match? Never put the title on him?
Fuck no. Greg might have.
Oh,
he would have put Greg in that spot.
Greg Gagne was the shit.
No, Greg wasn't that bad. He
was terrible. He was not good. Stop it.
Greg was a competent wrestler. He was fine.
You know what, Sil? Don't make me do it. You know what? You get it. You get this now. Hold on.
You stop.
I'm gonna have you thrown out of here.
I would suggest that a lot of Cody's early popularity was like almost like gratitude for helping start a brand new company, as opposed to anything he actually personally did.
I think the organic route, in my opinion, they have to go with Cody being the heel authority figure. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. I think, you know,
he could just fuck off. He could fuck off again.
He could just fuck off
and stay fucked off for a long time. So long, in fact, that we all forget about him. And then if he does come back, it will be like, yeah, Cody's back.
You know,
that's really the only hope he's got.
At the end of every show, me and Vet have been doing. We've been asking the chat, you know, what song do you want to go off the air to? So you're gonna have a couple of choices here, guys. You know, I'm thinking "Man Called Sting." Maybe we can go off the air to Dusty Rhodes, the WWE version. You know, Hard Times. You know, that's a good one. So think about that, guys out there. You know, and it's only going to be available on Patreon because we can't get
WWE version is my choice.
Right. We won't get flagged here. So you have to go to Patreon, listen to the podcast. You know, you're watching this live, but you're going to want to listen to it again because maybe you missed a couple of things. So head over to patreon.com/Hami Media Group and become a patron. A lot of cool shit there. I got to put that over really quickly, guys. And
yes, tons of content.
By the way, Ben has been sending me some pictures, from his vacation. And I can't tell you exactly where he is, but let's just say it's a Caribbean island. I can put that out, and they're selling some very phallic green, red, and I'll send you guys the pictures so you can see. But it's a quite an interesting place. Anyway,
he's from a location where you need an invitation.
Is that your new line?
See, I told you he doesn't watch, Silvio.
I don't. I don't. Well, I do watch. Who is that?
Oh my God, is that Private Party?
Private, who's that? Guys,
Party.
Don't those guys wrestle in WWE with the red
HFO.
cups? They don't have the red cups?
No, they
Anyway.
lost the red cups.
All right.
Last thing
man.
on Cody Vettel, what does he do next? I think the option is either go away till they miss you and come back as a baby, or go the opposite route and say, I built all this for you, and now all of you hate me for no reason. Yes, I'm making money to feed my family. Yes, I'm doing this, but I did it all for you. You turn your fucking backs on me. So I would go that route and just let him lean into what they're doing, as opposed to having him be like a McMahon authority figure. I think he's got some heat there if he went with it.
I only took this match with Malachi Black so that I could get pyro for my entrance music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's funny that's actually one of the best lines of this entire podcast. That he has intro music for his intro music. Anyway, let's jump into this very next match, which is the co-main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen.
A man called
time. Oh, let me tell you something, bro. You know, we get Darby Allin and his tag team partner, a man called Sting, versus Fuck the Revival, FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Hardwood, ladies and gentlemen. And I gotta tell you guys something right off the bat, man. I'm being very genuine here. I thought this was a fucking good match. I enjoyed this tag team match a lot. Not only did I enjoy it, because I was actually, so I don't watch it live. What I do is I record it on DVR, and then I watch it early in the morning so that I have a fresh, you know what I'm saying? And I stay off of social media. So I didn't know who won or anything like that. So I watched it this morning around 9 a.m. And I got to tell you something. I was messaging back with the glorious, magnanimous, and scholarly Professor Chabela de Cruz and Tommy Wonder. And man, I was like, man, Sting is moving really well. And let's really think about this. All right, guys, if you don't mind me taking a second here to put over Sting.
He should be put over.
I was watching this guy, and I was a baby. Guys, I'm almost fucking 50. I'll be 46 in March. He is 62, if I'm correct. 62 years old. He is almost 75. He's closer to 75 than I am. And the fact that he is in the ring, and my father always used to tell me, he used to call me Pops, he was Pops, listen, as long as you know how to take a fall, you can always work. I didn't understand that until I see these guys like Vern Gagne was doing drop kicks when he in the AWA. I don't know if you remember that when in the old Showboat days. Remember that shit? Yeah. So here's the deal. I think Sting did a very, very good job in this match. I think he looked really great. And I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna go to Silvio and then Vet or whatever we're pointing. That bump that Darby Allin took, that fucking coffin drop off the top rope onto FTR number 2, whatever his name is. Dude, holy fuck. I rewound it, went back, watched it again, and then they played the replay again. And the 3 times I watched it, it hurt even more. And I don't know if it hurt Darby as much as it hurt the poor dude underneath him. Holy shit. Silvio, break down. First, I need you to explain to me how nobody's dead from this, because this is incredible. That was an incredible... Listen, I'm not a Darby Allin fan, but holy fucking shit. That's some crazy shit.
I like Darby a lot. And Ray, you're just lucky you didn't watch the first year and a half of AEW, because Darby was doing some crazier shit than that. The mechanics of it is Darby is not a very heavy man. Cash Wheeler is built like a brick shit house. He's a fucking tank. Jesus. And Darby understands body control from skateboarding and flying and wrestling. So yeah, he did smash him pretty good. But I don't think Wheeler was too shook up about taking it, because Darby doesn't have that much weight, and he knew he could withstand it. And Darby's going to pull his weight a little bit to not kill him.
I'm sorry, but still, when my son was 4 years old and he jumped off the fucking bed and landed on my stomach, that shit fucking sucked. Go ahead, Vet.
Can I thought he hit Cash in the face.
I thought he did too.
I thought he got him across. It looked like he got him across.
He must have, because there was not an explosion of blood everywhere. Yeah, but I just, from the angles they showed, they didn't have one where it didn't look like he hit him right in the face.
It was incredible.
So for the
Incredible.
match itself, I agree with Ray on this. I thought it was a hell of a tag match and pretty traditional, and Sting did very well. FTR is so impressive. They are just fucking good, man. Like, Sting looked great at 62, blah, blah, blah. He did an awesome job. I got tons of respect for him. But FTR did a phenomenal job of making Sting look as great as he did and having a good structure to the match. My favorite part of the match was Darby's tag. That you've been watching AEW for a while, right?
Since the beginning, just like you.
What would your number one? We had one of my trainers was also your trainer. We probably have a similar opinion on this. What was your number one gripe about hot tags in AEW?
Hey guys, real quick, I'm gonna leave. They're saying I'm frozen. I'm gonna leave the studio and come right back in. Okay.
Okay. Gripes about hot tags in AEW?
Yes.
That's a trick question. There aren't any.
Why aren't there any?
Multiple reasons.
I agree with you for the most part.
Some of it is because, God forbid they let the heels tag first once in a while sometimes, or similar, like at the exact same time. Or they have the guy that's taking the heat bump everybody else in the damn match before he goes, and then die and then crawl over, things like that.
Right. So essentially, it's a version of what's called making your own comeback. The whole point of making the hot tag to your partner is because you're so beat up that you need to tag the fresh man in so he can make the comeback. Sure. Where a lot of modern tag wrestling fucks that up is they have the guy that's been getting beat up for 5 minutes do either a little bit or a lot of bit of offense and then tag. So when the tag happens, the crowd has no reason to explode because nothing happened. I love the way FTR set up this tag because they work a traditional tag style in the modern setting where they had Darby dipping and dodging. He dove for the tag. They caught him. They threw him back. He had to run through their legs, roll through. Bam, there's the tag to Sting. Crowd comes up. Sting comes in, House of Fire, big comeback. So it's a small detail that like a business insider or coach like myself would appreciate it. But I just love the quality of work and psychology that went into those four, knowing that spot the right way. And people give Darby shit like, he does too much crazy shit. He's one of these new school idiots, blah, blah, blah. Darby knows how to work. He was trained by Buddy Wayne, protege of fucking Rip Rogers. I watch Darby in the ring, and yes, he does some crazy high spots. But Darby understands. He understands how to sell, when to sell. He gets it. So I thought this was beautifully executed. Only possible gripe I could have, and I know FTR probably wanted to put Sting over. Like if they were asked who should win, they probably argued amongst each other who would tap out to Sting. But I don't know if they should have got the win there because I think it would have meant more for FTR to win than it did for Sting to win. Sting's already Sting.
Hey, I'm sorry. Before Vet, you say what you say. Did you not find it impressive that Sting actually, and again, Sting did put the Scorpion Deathlock on, that Sting actually sat back on the Scorpion Deathlock? When's the last time you saw that? Okay.
Many years. All right.
A long time.
Yes. Yeah, all that stuff is true. The hot tag was exactly the way you would want a hot tag to come off. Darby can work. Yes, he is small, but he's different. He does those crazy things like you said. And I say that there's some people that you just can't talk any sense to, like in terms of like young people that want to do a lot and you want to say, okay, listen, kid, save it for the times, and then there's people that just won't listen. So Darby Allin, Shotzi Blackheart, and Hiromu Takahashi are never going to not do what they do. So they're special cases. But like you said, everything he does it makes sense for him. The tag match is, there's different ways to do things, obviously. I would have done this completely differently than what they did. Not to say that my way is better or worse, but just like if you told me, hey, look, you got a legend and you got an up and coming star, here, what are you going to do? What I'm going to do is I'm not going to have Sting tag into the match in the first 30 seconds. If anything, I'm going to start it hot and beat Darby's ass and then get the build that hot tag that they did so well. And another thing too, while I'm doing that, I'm going to be constantly going over to that corner and cheap shotting Sting, so he has a reason not to just stand there like an asshole and watch both of us beat up his partner, which was a lot of what happened in this match. There, like when they first get Sting in the corner and Darby comes in or whatever, and they're just like pushing Sting around like to go to the other corner to shoot him off or whatever. You just see Darby Allin just standing there in front of the ref like, hey, like you could have just walked right past him. You know what I mean? And everybody does in AEW all the time, so it doesn't make sense not to do it. So just those kind of details is what I would have changed about the match. I would have had constant heat on Sting. That also builds up the anticipation that he gets in there and gets the comeuppance for all those cheap shots that he took that kept him out of the action while they double teamed his friend. So that I would have preferred to see. What they did, well, it was fine. At least no one fell or got hurt, unless we can ask Cash if he really did get hit in the face on that thing. But yeah.
It was more than fine, Vet. It was an entertaining match. It was well performed. It was a good tag match.
Hey, I wanted to quickly just give a quick shout out to somebody in the chat, Scott Woodford. Big shout out to you, Scott, for calling out the whole fake account with Genocide. I know you reached out to him personally there, Silvio. And just thank you guys for always supporting us and looking out for us, especially with bullshit like that. For those that don't know, Genocide shit was hacked, or Twitter was hacked, and somebody was out there looking for money, and requesting money and stuff. And Scott jumped on it, sent me some screenshots, sent it over to Silvio, who sent it over to, who showed it to Genocide. And I'm sure she's extremely grateful. So I just really want to put over how awesome, the chat is and the people here that support us.
Yeah, right. I wanted to mention that today before we close. I didn't know if he wanted his name mentioned, but you did. So, Scott, thank you very much. I appreciate the love and support. All is fixed now in the world. We have her account restored. She's back.
Yes.
Fake profile is gone.
Your law.
And I did some digging and have enough information to hopefully lead to this guy getting his
excellent. Excellent. Anything else we want to add about this match before we move on to the main event of the evening?
I'm good, Vet. You got anything?
Nope. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is the main event of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the AEW Women's World Champion, Dr. Britt Baker. Everybody, DMD. And she is facing one of the toughest opponents she's faced in quite some time in Ruby Soho. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this is for the AEW Women's Championship. And I got to tell you guys, to be genuine, to be honest, to be real, boy, I found myself looking at my cell phone a lot during this match. I did. And I'm being honest. And again, this is the after effect of the Daniel Bryan match versus the Kenny Omega match. And then during this whole thing, I'm thinking, is there like a banging or something I'm hearing in the background, like a banging or a swinging or something? I don't know. It's fine. It's gone now. But anywho, for me, I found it weird that I kept thinking about the main event, the opening match over the main event of the evening. And I'm saying to myself, this should be, and this is the fucking hard part about reviewing these things, because you have to overanalyze and really, really look at what's going on. And I found it hard for me, even though, listen, I like the fact, and hear me out here, guys, before I jump to, I'll go to Vet first and then Sil. I like the fact that Ruby Soho didn't get the belt. I expected her to get the belt, but I like the fact that you have a dominant champion who had some help. Let's be real. He had some help out there, okay? Mm-hmm. But we have a dominant world champion who held the belt, and nobody can say, oh, look, they got a WWE girl, and now they put the title right on her. No, they did not. Vet, what did you like about this match? What didn't you like about this match? And where do you see this feud moving forward? And then we'll go to Sil.
I like what you said there, Ray, about them not doing it, because it seems like an obvious choice. And you could even say, well, they want to send the people home happy. We got a draw, in the opening main event. And so you could say you want to, do something to really punch up the ending of this show. But Or if you did tune out before the end of the show, it's like, oh, you missed it. You missed the title change. Should have been there, kind of thing. But, so I thought the match was a good match, all things considered. Britt Baker's on fire. She's grasped this business very quickly because she has not been in it that long, but like 4 years-ish, give or take.
Yeah, I think like 5 years, something like that.
Yeah. She's definitely around 5. So that being said, my only note for the match is like I don't want to see anybody, men or women, with that relatively little ring time, because it's not like it's 5 years of 365 days a year. But I don't want to see anybody with that relatively little ring time doing air raid off the buckles at all. If Ruby's not hurt, that's luck. It's not because she was protected on that bump. So that's all I have to say on that. And I'll throw it to Sil.
Susio?
I thought this was a really good match. This might have been Britt Baker's best match thus far in AEW. The Thunder Rosa match was excellent, but it was different because they had weapons and tacks and crazy shit. This was just a straight match with good psychology, and the heel used the numbers game. I knew that Ruby would not win, and she should not win. One thing AEW does pretty well for the most part is protecting their homegrown people. They didn't put Daniel Bryan over Kenny Omega right away. They didn't put Soho over Britt Baker, who they built and invested a lot of time in. MJF's only lost twice. So they do have guys that are theirs that they're protecting and preparing for the future. Ruby Soho is exactly the kind of person you need in the AEW women's division. What they tried to do at first was take a bunch of girls from the independent scene that either had potential or had some following on the independent scene and thrust them into the national television spotlight without the necessary preparation for them to be ready for the moment. Ruby Soho has been through 2 different developmental programs before she got on national TV. Now this is her second national TV show. There's a reason why when we saw Serena Deeb come into AEW, the women's division picked up. When we saw Thunder Rosa come in and we saw Serena and Rosa have that match, picked up. Now we got yet another seasoned performer who can wrestle her ass off, knows how to work, knows timing. That's what this division needs. We take the developing women. Britt's been the MVP Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, for most improved. Now we bring in the other ladies along. Let's get Penelope Ford up to their level. Let's have, Ruby Soho working with her and trying to get everyone better. This is what the division has been needing the whole time, and I'm glad we're getting it. It was a good match. Ruby did a hell of a job. Right person won. And I think from here we get the much anticipated Thunder Rosa Britt Baker clash, which I predict to be a few months down the line because they do protect their titles here. But Thunder Rosa has to win that one.
And you know what else is good that we didn't get is hit Thunder Rosa's music and have her run out there at the end and start some shit like they do every other damn time. So
and Thunder Rosa is definitely somebody that I would love to see hold that title, and who I believe is believable, to take the title off of Britt Baker, and it's gonna all it's gonna do is elevate Thunder Rosa when she does get the title. Britt Baker has been a dominant champion. She's beating people that have been champions everywhere else, and she's been doing a great job, and she's over. She is definitely over.
She got herself over.
I think what's going to happen is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think after she does lose the title, we're going to move into, and I think this is where they're going to go. They're going to move into a storyline between, hear me out, Tony Schiavone, Britt Baker, and what's his face that just came over Britt Baker's Adam Cole. They may do that. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I think that's where they're going to go with that. Thunder Rosa
if they
is
were
very
WWE. That's exactly where they would go.
I'm hold on. I'm gonna. Thunder Rosa is fucking excellent. People,
Nice.
somebody commented Thunder is not good.
Who
She's
said that?
fucking.
Who said
She's
that?
not good. No, she's right. It's Frank's Pickleball.
That was Frank.
She's
Frank,
not.
come on.
She's
You know
not. No, he's right. She's not good. She's fucking excellent. She's excellent. She's excellent. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Also, under 5 years in the business.
Absolutely. So listen, guys. I wanted to keep this under 2 hours, but that never happens. I thought I did some good management when it came to having a guest on, getting some news in, and reviewing this in detail. But all that being said, gentlemen, before we start hitting the music to put over our socials, so on and so forth, I want to ask you, and I'll go to Susio first, and I'll go to the vet second. Out of 5 Meltzer stars, what do you give this event, Susio?
I'd give it 4 stars. What I liked about the opening obviously was good. What I liked about it is that they said they were going to treat it like a pay-per-view, and they did. So we didn't have a bunch of segments. We had, I think, 5 matches, and they were all important matches, and they were all at least good. We discussed what we would have done better, but overall, it was a strong fucking show. This is as strong as any wrestling show that's been on TV in a minimum of 10 years. I would say 20.
Okay. What do you think, Vet?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to also go with a 4 because it doesn't, I'm not grading it based on my personal taste. I'm just grading it based on what was promised, what was delivered, what these people would have wanted to see, and taking into account what other people may have wanted to see, hoping to see, that aren't necessarily regular watchers. I think that they should have gotten a 4 stars worth out of this if they tuned in, even if they didn't like some stuff. So I definitely think it's that.
And I'm going to give it a 3.5 stars, close to 4.
Oh, come on.
It would have been a 4 for me if they would have booked the main event with Kenny Omega doing the whole draw thing. I didn't enjoy the rest of the pay-per-view. I mean, the pay-per-view, hear me? I didn't enjoy the rest of the show as much as I would have if I wouldn't have kept thinking about fucking Kenny Omega versus Danny O'Brien, which again, in my humble opinion, was one of the greatest matches we've had on television in well over a decade, maybe even longer. So that's just a fact. But listen,
Probably since Shawn Michaels, Shelton Benjamin on Raw.
Seriously.
Seriously, 7 or something like that.
Seriously. But listen, guys, I'm out of here. I got to say something. It has been an absolute pleasure to work with Silvio. Thank you so much for allowing me. I've done this 2 weeks in a row, and I'm going to continue watching AEW. And whenever Ben Hameen is away, I want to be able to fill in. Hopefully, I did a decent job. I didn't shoot myself in the foot, so on and so forth. I enjoyed doing this. This has been a hell of a lot of fun. Thank you so much, chat, for supporting us. Thank you guys for being there for us. Thank you guys for subscribing over at Patreon, and thank you guys for not trashing me. I really appreciate it because listen, man, this isn't easy, man. I'm doing 25 things at once, and it's been a lot of fun. So, Silvio, please put over your socials and where they can find you, so on and so forth, and then we'll go to the bed.
First off, thank you, Big Ray, for stepping in and helping out with the show over the last couple weeks. We appreciate it. The listeners appreciate it. I love what I do with Hameen, but it's always fun when we mix in with other cats and get different viewpoint. That awesome chatting with you. It's been a very long time since we've gotten to do that, but I'm glad to see that you still love wrestling as much as I do. Listeners, thank you as always for being on our side. Next week's a big week. I'm going to LA, so tune in to Primetime Live on Fight TV October 2nd. I'll be in the corner of Blake Bulletproof Troop for his pro debut. And in between, I'll be training at Side Dojo. As far as social media, if there's anything you need to hear about and see, it'll be there.
Vet, please tell us where we can find you and stalk you and hack into your accounts.
I'm not too hard to find or to hack into, apparently. But yeah, you can definitely catch me all over the place around here. Should I just do the Smack Attack again, just to make it another clean sweep of review shows?
Sure, do that.
Nah, I don't feel like it. Okay. But yeah, you can find me on every week with Big Ray on Next Level Wrestling Review right here. Yes, that Big Ray, that very same Big Ray. And you can also find me on the Impact Attack with Colin Wysong and Brandon Stransky. And you can find me on social media at Opinion Haver everywhere. Listen, I want to say this especially for my man Chris Silvio. If I have anything approaching regrets about my life or my time that I spent around wrestling, the wrestling business, it's just that some people I haven't been able to keep in as close a contact as I like. And one of the reasons that it's been so great to be here with Hameen Media Group is because I've gotten to sit with Ben Hameen, sit with Ted the Man Beast, and sort of reconnect because, and I'm sure you can attest to this, just like I told them, I don't think we've ever sat down and had an actual conversation. Everything is acquaintances, everything's in passing, but I've always been a big fan of yours as a person and a performer. And so thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Thank you, buddy. And actually, we did have a few combos. We visited each other a couple times, I believe. But,
it's very fuzzy around that time.
Yeah. But
and I know we had one match, right? At least one match?
I don't think we ever worked together.
I thought we did. I thought Totally Awesome and the Army of Two either stepped on the same side of the ring or faced off.
Possible.
But I have no recollections about it. So if you don't either, then I can't ask you how it went. But whatever we did, it was always a pleasure. And I've been supporting all you guys from afar. And I'm just getting to be more vocal about it now that I have these platforms. So this is great.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate it, and that's what's cool about wrestling, man. It's in some ways it's a piece of shit business. In other ways, it is a brotherhood, and you know, once connected, like always says, you're never out. Another awesome show.
Canada Spaceman asks, if I come to New York, whose sister can I sleep with? Well, listen, buddy, you can sleep with my sister because she's a man, baby. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure, guys. I'm almost sad that I'm not going to be back next week, but who knows? Maybe I'll just fucking jump in for the fuck of it. Maybe
your Thursdays are free now.
Yeah,
they're very free. My wife is working, and I have to cook. It's very sad, but neither here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, listen. I always say this. I would do this for a living, but if I couldn't, I'd do it anyway. Why? Because I love talking wrestling. I love you guys. I appreciate you all. Chris Silvio, thank you so much. Vet, thank you so much. And look out for the debut of my boy, Bulletproof Blake Troop. It's coming. It's coming in October, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, guys. We are out of here. We Audi, what is it? Audi 3000, 2000, 1000? What are we doing here?
Let's ask the kids. Let's ask the kids.
All right, guys. So I think it's official. We're going off the air on Patreon. The Hard Times. That's the WWE outro
That's
song.
the Big Boss Man. You're thinking of Common Man.
Oh, Common Man. I'm sorry, not Hard Times. Hard Times, we'll do that
He's
next.
just a common man walking home.
So listen, guys, go to Patreon. Just fast forward, ladies and gentlemen. You'll hear it there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Thank you so much, y'all. Head over to patreon.com/Ami Media Group for more. We are out. Thank you, guys. We love you.